field, you enjoyed yourself in Uhuru Gardens as we were marking the 58th Jamhuri Day celebrations. As always, we have a fantastic show lined up for you. Na kama kawaida, we are back to gender imbalance. We are back to normalcy. The new norm, tumerudi, tuleta gender parity issues here. No 50-50 gender principle. Of course, we are back to how things usually are, the 3 ladies and 1 gentleman this morning. There we go. Regina, you are the one that, tipped this seesaw to balance out. But we are glad you're back.
So right now it's 99-1. Gender parity.
51?
1:3.
Yes, 99-1.
But that's how it is. That's how it should be.
75-25. Good morning, Victor.
Good morning. And by the way, Regina, welcome back. I was reading an article here. Samuel Eto'o is now the president of Cameroonian Football Federation. I'm just wondering if it happened here in Kenya, because we have got, superstars. We have got people who've played international football. We have got the Marigas of this world, the Oliech of this world. We talk of Abbas, of this world, people who are the legends who understand the football. Like, for example, we talk of the Athletics Kenya, being run by a seasoned athlete. So you can imagine Paul Tergat. You can imagine if we had a professional footballer running that federation. Just thinking out loud, because now Samuel Eto'o is saying that he's going to build 10 stadium. Stadium is that in 4 years period that's going to be in office. I'm just wondering, and probably if the Ministry of Sports was left for a sportsman or sportswoman to run it. Just thinking out loud. Yeah? The same way here, our MD is a seasoned journalist.
And we get to see the differences therein.
Exactly. Anyway, good morning. My name is Victor Lo. It looks like a Monday, right?
Watu watachanganikiwa hii wiki.
It looks like a Monday. But nonetheless, we are back with more to tell you. A lot happened over the past 1 week, starting from the Azimio la Umoja movement, now called ALUM, abbreviation, and of course, what happened at the, how do you call it? The Jamhuri Day celebration at Uhuru Garden. It looks beautiful. It looks beautiful. We'll have more discussions of that in the next hour. Welcome to the program. My name is Victor Lo. Doreen.
Good morning. It is a Tuesday. Usichanganyikiwe. Tuko hapa kukukumbusha leo ni siku gani ya wiki. It's a Tuesday.
Tuesday. Yeah.
It's a Tuesday, and good morning to your viewers. We always appreciate you for making time to join us Monday through Thursday. So it's a Tuesday today, and we have a lot in store for you this morning up until 10 a.m. Just as what Wamboy and Victor has mentioned, plenty more in terms of the conversations we have this Tuesday, as well as also what is making news, the different dailies, as well as the GMK News Brief. They're not forgetting how our roads will be looking like this morning. So clearly a lot in store for you up until the end of the show, and we urge you to stay put. Baka huo wakati. As usual, many thanks for making time. I'm Doreen Arange Okelo. Regina, good morning.
Good morning. It's good to be back. I had missed actually being on this platform and getting to interact with not only my team, that is Traffic Marshal A1, the persons from the lowlands, that is Lady Jane and Victor, but I generally just missed being at this point.
Kukuja hii pande lakini this time.
Well, today I choose peace. I really choose peace. I am trying to internalize the turmoil that I'm dealing with at this point, but I'm glad to be alive nonetheless, and good and healthy and hearty. And I trust and believe that if you're watching us this morning, that you are appreciative of the fact that you are alive. I think that is very important. We underestimate when we say good night, see you tomorrow, that actually it might not happen, or even you might wake up and somewhere along the way you actually get into a situation that changes your whole life as you know it. So we appreciate even the small miracles that happen to us each and every day, like breathing, getting to be with your loved ones, talking to them, and interacting with them. Those things actually make the rest of the paper chasing, as well as people canvassing here and there, it makes it all, it fades away when you're within, or rather with your loved ones, and enjoying the simplicities of life. I'm Regina Manyara, not to preach. It is Tuesday, not Monday, where we do a recap of what was happening on Sunday Mass. However, being a Catholic, yesterday we had a special Mass, so we're not going to go there yet. And talking about matters of national importance, the cycle of drought. Now we are walking into a disaster, according to a special report in one of the dailies this morning. The numbers are not so good when it comes to our food security situation, and what is exacerbating this situation is the polls that are coming up next year, which is in under a few weeks. So are we going to avert this? What is the Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya going to do about it, or is it going to be a replica of what we have seen over the years when we talk about the issue of food security on an election year? And are we expected to see a rise in food prices at a time when Wanjiko is already decrying the high cost of living, so to speak? This and so much more will be highlighted as we continue with In the Headlines. We invite you to give us your feedback. Tell us where you're watching this particular broadcast from. We are on Twitter at KBC Channel 1. My Twitter handle is at Ray Manyara. So tell us, include where you are watching us from. But for now, we take a quick breather. When we come back, we're going to be bringing you up to speed with those stories that have been making headlines. Do not go away. Now we start off with matters in security right here on, In the Headlines. Just in case you're joining us this morning, I'm Regina Manyara. Now talking about our schools is that Eco Boys High School in Tharaka Nithi County has been closed indefinitely after learners walked out of school following a fire that saw 3 dormitories go up in flames. According to the principal, Joseph Mbaye, the Sunday night fire that consumed 480 capacity dorms started around 11 p.m.
School principal noted that although the institution could not fully account for the safety of 243 students who ran out of the school during the commotion, there was no reported case of injury by Monday morning. He said Sunday was peaceful until the students retired to the dorms after evening preps at 10 p.m. But at around 10:30 p.m, while in his office, he spotted on his CCTV camera screen a group of students outside the dormitories. He immediately rushed there only to find that they had started breaking window panes. With the help from the night guards and other teachers, the principal said he tried to contain the students, but the learners overpowered them and he had to call local police for reinforcement. 35 students were arrested by police on suspicion of being the masterminds of the arson and are still being questioned at Chuka police station.
We'll be keeping tabs on that at a time when the Ministry of Education has come out very clear and said that anyone who's going to be found culpable, teacher, student, in as far as those arson attacks on schools, is going to face the full force of the law. We'll be keeping tabs on that as far as we await the closure of schools at the end of this week. The dates being given by the Ministry of Education between the 16th and the 17th of this month, while others have closing dates of up to 23rd of December. Now off to matters politics, where a section of United Democratic Alliance leaders have urged Kenyans to reject any political project ahead of the 2022 general election. They said Kenyans should be left to elect leaders of their own choice without intimidation. The leaders spoke at the Deputy President William Ruto's current residence, where he hosted a delegation from Laikipia County.
The United Democratic Alliance appears increasingly convinced that Raila Odinga may be President Uhuru Kenyatta's heir apparent. A day after yet another public display of cohesion between the president and the ODM leader, UDA has alleged that Odinga is being imposed on Kenyans.
Watu wachache kwa sababu wako na pesa wanaamini wanaweza kuketi mahali kwa mkahawa na wakatuamulia ati nani atakuwa kiongozi wa Kenya bila ya kushauriana na mtu yeyote. Sisi tunawaambia ni sawa, mko na pesa, mnaweza kuamua kwa hoteli, na sisi tutaamua nyanjani na vijana na Wakenya.
Deputy President William Ruto and his allies also took issue with the president's latest remarks on the Building Bridges initiative, urging that it is an idea that will not work for the betterment of the republic.
We do not believe it is necessary to change the constitution to create inclusivity. We believe we need a plan, and the bottom-up economic plan is what is going to give us the inclusivity that we are looking for, whether it is in creating jobs or whether it is in having a real, serious national political party.
Ruto said that the country's unity cannot be achieved through creation of positions to benefit few individuals at the expense of millions of ordinary citizens.
Na sisi tunataka tusimame, tuambie, na leo nataka niwaambie mjue hii Kenya hivi sasa tutaenda kupiga kura baina ya watu wa historia na watu ambao wanataka kuona mpango going forward.
So do not talk to me about history. Talk to me about what you will do once you become the president of this country. Talk to me about the future of this country and how you want to take us there. So we are not prisoners and slaves to history. We are students of the future.
Now, still keeping up on matters of politics, Meru Governor Kiraito Murungi says he will only support the presidential candidate who will have his people's interest at heart. Kiraito, who had initially appeared to be warming up to ODM leader Raila Odinga, asked the Mount Kenya East to be vigilant and stand as a people and not settle for less. The governor was speaking in Meru County during the launch of the Democratic Empowerment Party, or BAS, as it's commonly referred to.
I tell you, brothers and sisters, those high and mighty, they will come to Mount Kenya East on their knees looking for friendship. Wao ndio watakuja kutafuta hapa kama tunajiunga vizuri, na wakija ndio tutawaambia mambo yetu, na kama unataka kura zetu tunataka tuandikanie hiyo barabara utafanya. Sasa unajua, wanajua tuna shida ya miraa, kwa hiyo kila mtu anapitia hapo anasema mimi ndio nitaleta soko ya, lakini ni sawa, lakini ningetaka tukae chini, sisi tuongee kwa barabara, tukae chini tuongee na yeye.
And as it's commonly referred to, Mbas. There we go. Now, village elders in Mwea East Sub-County now want the Ministry of Interior to implement a proposal providing for them salaries and security apparatus to enable them work efficiently. The elders say that despite being the first line of security in the village level, they continue to be neglected by the government.
The elders are calling on the government to equip them with security apparatus and a monthly salary as a morale booster to their activities at village level. Led by their chairman, Johnson Gitari, the elders say the Interior Ministry has been making promises that are taking too long to be realized.
Sisi iko wakati tunaenda kukamata watu, tunaenda na kamba. Tukikamata mtu ni ile mwizi sugu, watu wao wanakuja na panga, wanakata hiyo kamba ya ng'ombe tunafunganga watu nayo. Tungependa pia tushughulikiwe na pingu hata sisi. Sasa tunafanya kazi, tunaambiwa tutalipwa na hao watu community watatulipa na nini? Unaona mtu anakuambia nitakupatia 100 na mko watu 5, mtagawanya 100 watu 5 na nini?
Sentiments echoed by Kirinyaga Deputy Governor Peter Ndambiri, who said the elders have played key roles in providing alternative dispute-solving avenues for cases, and this calls for incentives in form of a salary.
Devolution should cascade downwards, even to village elders. Serikali kuu ifafanue hiyo maneno, wajue village elders watalipwa na national government ama watakuwa nalipwa na county government.
This even as Kikuyu elders from Kiambu County appointed a new member to the elders group to add on to the already 7 existing elders who provide guidance and solve internal disputes among the community. The addition comes amidst of arising conflicts among families and indiscipline among the youth.
Boma zinapotea. wasichana wale wanaoana ndoa zinafunjika sababu watu hawana wazee wa kuwazungumzia.
Ni vizuri sana mmesoma na msomesa. Tukisha msomesa namna hiyo, utamaduni wenu muache kwa musiwache. Kwa maana yake Mswahili husema mwacha mila ni mtumwa na mtumwa ni mjinga, hajui katumwa wapi.
The elders are also expected to give guidance on cultural values and community history.
Elders there wanting security and such to work properly. Now, workers at Rongo University, Migori County have downed the tools for the fourth day running over delayed payments. The irate workers are now accusing Vice Chancellor Professor Samuel Gudu of running down the institution. According to the Secretary General of the Kenya University Staff Union, Joseph Opande, the institution has failed to honor a collective bargaining agreement entered between the workers and the management.
These are the scenes that were witnessed today at Rongo University's entrance. With workers showing their disapproval at what they say is the management inaction in honoring their return to work agreement.
The pension is not up to date. The reviews are not up to date. The deductions are never remitted.
NHIF.
And so many other things as we are talking. We have been patient enough, but a time comes when you raise questions, and these particular questions need answers. We are seeking for the answer.
Apart from delayed salaries, the workers accused the Vice Chancellor Professor Samuel Gudu of nepotism, dictatorship and arrogance in running of the institution.
To date, the university management has not implemented the CBA in totality. What we are demanding is the payment of the full arrears that accrues to 8 months.
A section of students who joined the demonstration say the strike is causing a major disruption in their studies and are now calling on the management to put the interest of the student first by resolving the stalemate between them and the institution's workers.
This issue of workers striking has been repeating itself for quite long. Before you sit for exams in this university, you have to pay fees, all the amount. But it's very surprising the workers have not been paid.
Why? How?
We have not been given direction with the school council. Huh? Why are we not? Why are the school wasting us here? We should be directed. We'll be given the memo. We either vacate the school or will they give us exams.
I'm not understanding why these people have right to strike because it is their money. But my problem is, my biggest question, where is my exams?
The staff have vowed not to return to work until their grievances are addressed. Efforts to reach the Vice Chancellor for a comment were unsuccessful.
As the world marked the gender-based violence, that is 16 days of activism, our reporter Jackie Wambiru went and had a conversation with a person, basically a survivor of gender-based violence, who was raised as a single mother by the help of relatives, and also became a teen mother. And they also got married, only for their stepfather to actually take advantage of her. Here's a report by Jacqueline Wambiru.
For the better part of her childhood, Marie, not her real name, moved out from her mother's house to live with her grandmother. Later, as a teenager, her mother got married. Marie moved in with her to the new matrimonial home. According to Marie, what she thought would be the beginning of a new happy life turned out to be the onset of a never-ending nightmare. Marie was only 13 when her stepfather allegedly defiled her.
Alifanya mimi sex lazima na ni kitu alikontinue kufanya. Mamangu kama yuko anafanya.
She says he took advantage of her and made it a habit every time an opportunity presented itself after her mother left her alone with him.
Nikimwambia sasa mbona unanifanyia hivi, ananiambia if you ever talk about this hatutakuwa naweza kumaliza and then niseme sijui mali ulienda. So I keep quiet until.
Marie says when she finally gathered courage and reported to her mother, no action was forthcoming, thus perpetuating the silence that fueled more abuse.
Popigia simu nikamwambia hivyo, akaniambia unataka kunikosanisha na mume wangu. So kuanzia hapo tukaikuwa na good times na my mom.
Kenya's women rights campaigners say that stigma and fear associated with reporting gender-based violence contribute significantly to the high number of gender-based violence, with a lot of cases going unreported.
Stigmatization that is associated with gender-based violence. For example, if you tell anyone you are raped, they profile you already. They intimidate you. They want to think that you are the one on the wrong.
Majority of the cases don't get reported, and if they do get reported, ni kama mtu ashakuwa mkubwa mpaka you can't even do a follow up on the evidence to take this person forward because of that issue.
According to the SGBV toll-free hotline 1195, the total number of gender-based violence cases reported from January to November 2021 were 3,611. Psychological abuse stood at 1,559. Physical assault cases recorded were 805. Child neglect 772, defilement 143, while rape, denial of opportunity, child abduction, child abandonment, denial of resources, sexual assault, custody and maintenance, sodomy, child marriage, female genital mutilation, child labor, and sexual harassment recorded below 100.
All these major cases come from Nairobi County. It is not because other counties don't have such cases. It is just because in Nairobi, people are exposed to GBV information.
The consistent string of cases reported, it is evident that sexual and gender-based violence is resoundingly prevalent in Kenyan homes and communities, a crisis that has drawn the attention of President Uhuru Kenyatta, who has called for urgent measures.
Ukijua uko na mzee ambaye ako na hizo tabia, mweke kwa soko, mwanike hapo mbele ya watu, angalia huyu, hebu muone huyu, anatembea na watu ya kusababisha mtu apate aibu, awachane na tabia hizo.
As this nightmare continues to take its toll on families, gender-based violence survivors like Marie can only hope more people speak out against what many now call a catastrophe.
Tukiwa sisi sasa jameni ndio tunawaharibu, si hata sisi tunajiharibia because we are destroying our future. Yeah? So really this is not ati serikali saidia, hapana. Hii sio serikali saidia. Hii ni wewe na wewe na wewe saidia.
Good to speak out and begin to seek help. Just call 1195. And then also that psychosocial support is very necessary, very important for anyone who has undergone any form of violence.
It's very important that these parents report these cases for the well-being of their kids and for the well-being of watoto wengine, because kama maybe alidefile wake this time, next time ni wako atadefile, what will you do about it?
I'm Jackie Wambiru.
We need to secure our future, especially now when there's a high rate of gender-based violence. Remember, zungumza, or rather just speak out, because we need to have these issues addressed there. Children should feel comfortable and safe within their spaces, and this is especially within the family union. We take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be looking at the stories that are making headlines, including Marta Sports. So who is going to be playing who when it comes to the last 16 as far as soccer is concerned? I know Manchester United at some point were told they're going to be facing on PSG, but is it? I understand there's a technical issue. And those who love Formula One, so to speak, there's been quite a conversation. Was Max Verstappen the person you wanted to actually take Formula One? Well, I know I wasn't of that team, but hey, it is what it is. We're going to be having that and so much more after this quick breather.
Log on to the KBC website at www.kbc.co.ke to get the latest breaking news, entertainment, sports, politics, lifestyle or business trends from Kenya and around the world. Never miss new episodes from your favorite TV shows, reruns and movies. Just stream online or watch live on your YouTube channel at KBC Channel 1 TV shows. Biggest stories, trustworthy news and family entertainment. Log on to KBC Channel 1. Watch what you want anytime, anywhere.
Stop there! Who the hell are you?
It's none of your business, okay? Who do you think you are?
Don't play tricks on me.
Are you threatening me here?
My requirement is roll straight, roll nicely, and quickly. Boss, roll!
Ian, you should communicate with Mr. Tong more. Considering your relationship, it won't be difficult.
有一段故事建筑一座城堡，回放进去好久不再打。
Father, I visited from home in a never end. If you lose your stand, anyone will try to push you over. If you should lose me, you lose my kitchen. Girl, you are a queen to me, yeah. And I'm so proud.
Good morning. If you're just joining us, this is In the Headlines on KBC Channel 1, and I'm Regina Manyara. Now, the African Union is warning of a decrease in fish population due to climate change, which is increasing pressure on their survival while also hampering their ability to adapt. According to the African Union, this has been worsened by the rising levels in water bodies due to massive melting of ice and high tides caused by climate change.
Development.
It is during an inception meeting on conserving the aquatic biodiversity in Africa Blue Economy held in Naivasha, Nakuru County, where the African Union warned of oceans becoming warmer day by day, a move it says is affecting aquatic life as they struggle to survive.
We also need to ensure that all the components that make up the blue economy, be it the transportation, the trade, that also is important. So it's about investing in the sector.
Noting the position of blue economy on tourism and aquatic resources, the Inter-African Bureau for Animal Resources Programs Manager Clement Adiololo assured of union support to the African countries.
The problem that we face from the climate, even from our own land management approaches, that how we manage the oceans also determine how much we can get out of the oceans as a resource.
Sentiments echoed by Mohamed Seisei, a senior fisheries officer at Inter-African Bureau for Animal Resources, who noted that all the aquatic body crises are as a result of human activities calling for sustainable use of these resources to protect marine life.
This project is to encourage government to develop the necessary guidelines on mechanism of regulation so that the sustainable practice of cage farming will take place in these ecosystems.
This not only aims at building the capacity, but harmonizing those capacities so that it will be for the benefit of the continent.
This comes as it emerged that the continent was yet to fully reap from the blue economy, which is expected to hit a $500 billion mark by 2030.
Now, crossing over to matters regional, rather stories making headlines across the African continent and talking about matters of COVID-19 is that South African President Cyril Ramaphosa is receiving treatment after he tested positive for COVID-19. We're going to be keeping tabs on that as it develops. Remember that you need also to keep on, washing your hands thoroughly with running water and soap, as well as sanitizing and social distancing. Let's cross over to the counties now, where residents of Kiru Ward of Murang'a County are opposing the construction of a water intake project in the area. The residents are vowing to stall the project, so they are not involved by the National Irrigation Authority in a public participation before the commencement of the construction. Details of this and other stories from the county's news roundup.
The residents have vowed the project, which is being constructed along Mathioya River, will not continue until they are fully involved in a public participation.
Hii mradi ulikuja hapa ukaharibu mashamba yetu na miti yetu na hakuna faida ambaye tutaweza pata.
The residents have decried the abandoned water intake, saying that it has turned to be a mosquito breeding area. Meanwhile, Alupe University College has benefited from a donation of personal protective equipment from the National Emergency Funds Kitty in collaboration with Equity Bank to support medical students and workers fight COVID-19.
Our interest is to protect the frontline staff. Those are the doctors, the nurses, because it has been a challenge. In fact, we know the times when they have tried to go on strike because they are not adequately protected.
And Masinda Muliro University of Science and Technology, in collaboration with International Development Research Center Canada, have launched a project dubbed Inclusive Home-Based Model of Play in Ikolomani Sub-County, Kakamega County. The project will be rolled out in extreme poor areas where most children under 5 years are at risk of health issues and developmental problems.
We want to believe we are really in sync with competency-based curriculum that is now talking about parental engagement.
Finally, Nyandarua County government has urged residents to fully embrace the competency-based curriculum form of education. Nyandarua Youth, Sports, Gender and Social Services CECM Anne Gadhigia said CBC will help nurture and grow skills.
Ni muhimu sana tuendelee kama wazazi kushikilia hii mambo ya CBC, tusichoke tukiambiwa tengeneza hii, leta jembe, leta lile lingine, kwa ajili tunakuza talanta.
Now off to Pokot County, where leaders drawn from West Pokot County have applauded the national government through the affirmative action fund that saw the funding and the eventual construction of Arikiamet bridge that has for decades been a pain point to the people of Sigor. The bridge that has taken both livestock and people without it swept by floods will also ease border patrols in the region.
The newly constructed Akiriamet Bridge in Masol area that connects West Pokot and Turkana County in the remote region is a sigh of relief to the residents, as the affected community can now move easily without the horror of crossing a flooded riverway way. at Akiriamet. Area MP Peter Lochakapong, accompanied by Kapenguria Samuel Moroto and Kachiliba Mark Lomunokol, lauded the contractor for completing the project on time. Kachiliba, Member of Parliament, who is also a member of the Special Funds Committee in the National Assembly, said they settled the Akiriamet due to the frequent destruction of smaller bridges and decided to allocate it funds.
Ninashukuru kontrakta ambaye ameshughulikia hili kazi, na hii pia ni dhihirisho tosha kwamba kumbe local contractors wako na uwezo ama ability ya kufanya kazi wa aina hii.
Lochakapong urged the residents of West Pokot to maintain peace as they approach the Christmas festivities, especially along the borders.
Wakati wa West Pokot wote popote mlipo, tuweke amani. Tuweke amani na majirani wetu, tuweke amani kati yetu, na tuwe na sherehe nzuri wakati huu wa Krismasi na wakati huu wa likizo hii.
Kapenguria MP Samuel Moroto said that the Equalization Fund will boost the economic status of regions like West Pokot that had been marginalized for long, and that the completed bridge will help in peace building through access to remote border points of West Pokot and Turkana South.
Niliweka Kajarpot hospitali, nikaweka hapa Creek hospitali, nikaweka maji sehemu ya Kaptarin na sehemu nyingine hapa chini. Sasa haijakwisha na mabarabara kadhaa ambayo tuliweka.
9 teenage girls from Moyo Wakai Primary School in Magarini sub-county of Kilifi County are reportedly pregnant. The girls are aged between 15 and 16 who had fallen victims to gender-based violence were rescued by women on the move, and after counseling, they have been taken back to school. Carissa Charo, a village elder, observed that cases of gender-based violence at Moyo Wakai have become rampant and urged parents and teachers to be vigilant.
The pregnancy cases come at a time when the teenage pregnancy rate in Kilifi County has reportedly gone down. Carissa Charo, a village elder at Moyo Wakai, noted that some of the girls were impregnated by fellow students while others by outsiders, and the majority engaged in sex to get as little as 50 shillings to buy basic needs like sanitary towels.
Wengi wa watoto kuwahoji ni kukosa mahitaji yao kutoka kwa wazazi. Kwa hivyo jamii ama wazazi hawajibiki kulingana na majukumu yao. Ningeomba sana wazazi kuhamasishwa juu wengi hawajajua umuhimu wa haya mashirika vile ambao wanasaidia watoto. Tumekuwa na changamoto kwa wazazi, lakini kwa saa hii tunaona kidogo vile mashirika yanakuja, yakija wanaelezwa na tunaona itatuletea msaada.
Halima Kazungu, not her real name, a class 8 pupil, said she engaged in a sexual relationship with her boyfriend, who is in Form 1 at a secondary school, and got pregnant a month later. Kazungu noted that her mother provided her with basic needs, but did not know why she allowed herself to engage in sex.
Boyfriend wangu tumeendelea, hivyo sasa asema haya, leo utaenda tujaribu kuwa mapenzi. Mimi siku 6 tukaenda, siku ya kwanza, ya pili, ya tatu, mwezi sikupata, wa kwanza, wa pili, wa tatu, niko na mimba. Mamangu wazazi wakaniambia nifuate kuja shule, najipa moyo nifuate kuja shule.
On the other hand, Sidi Jafet, not her real name, aged 16 years, from the same school, now in class 7, said poverty drove her into early sex after her father died and left behind her mother to provide for the family.
Mimi niko na mamangu, babangu aliaga. Ni atafute, mara nyingine anakosa pesa mpaka kuninunulia pads. Nimfanye kuomba. Naomba wasichana wenzangu wasifanye mambo kama haya, endelee na masomo.
Helda Lamek, Wima chairperson, said they have been rescuing girls and sensitizing them due to the increased cases of teenage pregnancy in the area. Helda further observed that majority of the girls were aged 14 years and above, and are often lured into sex for money as little as 50 shillings and later end up getting pregnant.
Mbili zimepita, tumeweza kurescue watoto 8 ambao watoto 8 wote hao wako wajawazito age between 14 mpaka 16. Wote walikuwa wajawazito kutoka kwa shule moja ambayo iliweza kutufanya ikatupatia motisha kuweza kukaa chini na kuongea na watoto one on one na kuona shida iko wapi.
When we have those cases of pregnancy cases like teenage pregnancy, of course a culprit has to be there because that one is a defiler. We've worked together with these organizations and the police to ensure that the culprits are brought to book, because once they are brought to book they also live as examples such that those perpetrators who are also trying eyeing in doing the same case, the same issue, they usually back off and let go because they know the penalty is not something simple.
Quite unfortunate there. Now we cross over to Matters Sports, where the Kenya national junior team that took part in the 6th Ghana Zone 3 Swimming Championship arrived home from Uganda, where they finished 3rd overall. The girls team, however, topped the ladies table, while the boys team finished 3rd in their category.
The over 20 swimmers of the Kenyan national junior team who traveled to Uganda for the 6th Ghana Zone 3 Swimming Championship arrived home last night from Uganda with more than 30 medals and a 3rd overall trophy in their possession. The Kenyan team competed against 5 other countries and finished 3rd overall with 2,369 points, behind Tanzania, who was 2nd on 2,638 points, while champions Uganda had 2,827 points. Burundi had to settle for 4th position on 802 points, while Sudan and Eritrea were the bottom 2 sides with 250 and 17 points respectively.
I've never felt so patriotic like this time round. I've never felt so honored to be with this team. The young were just pushing themselves. Most of these swimmers, this was their first time to compete internationally, and they did not at any one time shy away.
Victoria Okumu, the Kenyan captain, was also awarded the best girl in the over 15 years category, despite not competing in 5 other individual events.
The experience in Uganda was very good. The team performed very well from day one, with Nurain starting us off with the 800 free. From there, the hype went very well and we all just performed very good throughout the gala. Yeah.
And still, with that incredible performance, 18 other Kenyan swimmers who were eligible to compete in the Ghana Zone 3 Championship did not travel with the team.
The boys taught Uganda, Tanzania and the other countries a good lesson. We went and showed them fire in water. They were very good. I would especially give a big thanks to the 15 and over, winning most of the relays, which was very good, and the 12 and under, which were living up to the expectations and beating every other team to the podium, which was very amazing.
Among the gold medalists at the tournament were Nathan Matimu, Jesse Kioko, Haniel Kudwoli and Captain Tibuka Bifuoli, while in the gold medalists in the girls category included Nurian Bakha, Makrin Kalombo, Duini Kafini, Captain Victoria Okumu and Audrey Chebet.
Congratulations to the team. Now, African Schools Chess Championship kicked off Monday evening at the Pride in Westlands with over 250 participants from 10 countries competing in various categories. The event will also see youth aged between 7 and 17 years from different parts of Africa clash for the championship title.
And there I talked about
5 Kenyans won their opening matches as the African Schools Individual Chess Championship started at Azuri Pride Inn Hotel. Round 1 of the 9-day event saw Kenyan win most of its game. Among the winners are Curtis Ruben Ubit Masuku Eluthu of South Africa in just 4 moves, Helsi Kamoni beating Comfort Kaleng of South Africa, Wambui Banis beating Mala Omile of Botswana, Riziki Kuka beating Itoya Gabriela of Nigeria, Sharian beating Adel Magu of Zimbabwe, John Murege beating Carson Enrico of South Africa, Don Muiruri beating Rose Justin of South Africa.
My game was good. I got an walkover. That's how I won the game. I'm just going to start preparing by playing puzzles and basics that I've already done. It was a bit tough. My opponent made a few blunders, but then I managed to checkmate him. He made a few blunders and I captured pieces and I did a bit of tactics and yeah, I won. I usually exchange my pawns with my opponent's pieces and then he was left with a few pieces. So then I used my queen and bishop to checkmate him.
Countries from different parts of Africa coming in from different regions coming into night. To see them with so much of energy, so much of optimism is like a breath of fresh air to each one of us.
The event is set to continue tomorrow with more than 250 participants from the countries competing in various categories. Daniel Mwendwa, Sport.
Remember, you can get further details on what is happening in as far as our sporting action is concerned on our various channels, as well as our website, that is www.kbc.co.ke. Now let's cross over to beach volleyball, where David Nseke and Julia Mbappe are the winners of the second leg of the National Beach Volleyball Tour 2021 series held in Wote-Makueni County. Meke and Mbappe humbled Prison's duo Jarius Kipkosgei and Elfas Makuto by 2-1 to back the title. The ladies category, Naomi Tor and Veronica Adhiambo trounced their favorites, backsides Agala and Gaudensia Magoha, to emerge victorious. En route to the last four, Tor and Othiambo saw off Posca Kasisi and Yvonne Wavinya, while Agala and Magoha defeated Gladys Wangoi and Judith Tarus. Over 30 players drawn from some of the top volleyball league clubs in the country took part.
We started in a low tone, but as we were moving on and playing some matches, we were catching up. Also, we thank God because of what He has done to us today. It has not been an easy game. It was really tough. My sincere thanks back to my partner. I'm so happy because of her and the performance also. She's doing very well.
Adel Balala was crowned 2021 Kenya Amateur Golf Champion after amassing an accumulative total points of 813 achieved from the Kenya Golf Union Golf Series. Meanwhile, Balala left the country ahead of the 2021 Abu Dhabi Amateur Golf Championship that kicks off today.
Balala completed the series by clinching the 2021 Nyali Open Kenya Amateur Golf Championship title that ended at the par 71 Nyali Golf and Country Club course in Mombasa County. Balala broke the amateur course record of an excellent total of 8 under par 205 gross after producing 68, 69 and 68 gross in 3 rounds to emerge the overall winner.
We have the best training schedule, but equipment plays one of the biggest parts, because if you lose by one shot, and one shot in golf is everything, it definitely comes down to equipment.
Balala, who is currently ranked 171 in the world, left the country last night ahead of the 2021 Abu Dhabi Amateur Golf Championship that kicks off Tuesday. Meanwhile, Kenyan parents have been urged to play an important role in the cultivation of their children's talents. According to Treasury Chief Administrative Secretary Eric Simiu, sports is among direct avenues through which the youth could easily be self-employed. He spoke at South Bay area in Nairobi during the award ceremony for upcoming talent at the Railways Technical College.
That puts a cap on the news briefs this morning. Further details are available on our website, that is www.kbc.co.ke. But being a Monday, Tuesday, so to speak, but yesterday was a holiday, have you left the comfort of your home? Given that statistics indicate that over 85% of the workstations are domiciled within the CBD and its environs. Let us get you there. More so, let's Traffic Marshal A1 Doreen Arange tell us of how the roads are looking like and what are the alternative routes. To you, Doreen.
Monday, Tuesday, Monday, whichever one it is.
But nonetheless, we are here to give you the updates on how the roads are looking like. And this morning, we'll be focusing on how Ngong Road is looking like, given the fact that we still know that there's still some ongoing works, especially on that third phase of that particular route, which begins from areas around Karen all the way to Dagoretti Corner. We know that at least so far, phase 1 and 2 is already complete, opened up to the public, NMT already put in place. What is still remaining on that phase 1 and 2 is just a bit of the amenities that had been mentioned by Kura and Kenha there. Those include the various footbridges that are supposed to be installed at various areas, which again, I'll be telling you about these specific areas and why these areas were chosen or designated for the installation of this particular footbridges, as well as proper drainage systems, which are also supposed to be put at least on phase 1 and phase 2 of that particular stretch. This morning, that is our focus when it comes to the traffic flow, trying to just track perhaps how that construction is going, and perhaps even as we continue to look at the traffic, I'll be showing you at what point it has reached and what exactly made that construction process to take this long time for it to be complete in terms of the phase 3 construction. So perhaps you can just begin from areas around Coptic Hospital there as you head over to sections or areas of Ngong Road. This is how the area looks like. Obviously one of those busy roads, and oftentimes there's usually heavy kind of traffic, especially around this particular area just around the Coptic Hospital. And again, also this is another section where Kenha has designated that footbridge to be installed simply because it's next to a hospital, the same as Kenyatta Hospital, and the same as also areas where it's next to a school or even next to a hospital, because I mean it's just obvious, next to a hospital, next to a school, so obviously a lot of human activities here and there. That is why it is important, or it has become important for those footbridges to be installed. But as of now, they haven't yet been installed, and again, I'll be telling you why that hasn't happened, despite the fact that it's been like a year and a half since that was mentioned. So clearly just meant that at least when phase 1 and 2 was complete in terms of construction, all that needed to be in place, but that hasn't quite happened. But when it comes to traffic flow, this is how it is looking like just around that area. Look at how it is. Obviously, just around that particular section next to the hospital, that is just where there's really heavy kind of traffic, moving at a very slow pace. And the other section, as you leave areas of Langata, City Mortuary Roundabout, City Centre, sections of Valley Road, Hurlingham, and joining to Ngong Road, as well as areas of Kenyatta, moving at a very swift pace. So it clearly means if at all you're leaving those areas that I've just mentioned, then again, this is just the best time for you to do that. Or if your workstation is around these areas or are going to any activities along sections of Ngong Road, then again, this is still clearly the best time for you to do that, because along that particular stretch, or better still that lane, no traffic at all, green all through, moving at a very swift pace, clear indicator of zero traffic along that particular section. On the other side, still nothing is changing, the same heavy kind of traffic. In fact, this has just changed right this very second. That is around still the area around Coptic, moving at not even moving at all, in fact at a standstill. Like I mentioned, this has just changed right now. And again, this is where I keep saying all the time, the traffic changes every single minute, could be even every single second, just like what we are seeing right now. So again, obviously if you're leaving areas of Dagoretti, Karen, Ngong, Adams, coming to the city center, around this area is just where you'll have to make do with this heavy traffic, which is not moving at all. And if you're around these sections, if at all you're coming to the city center, then there is no alternative route, so we can't give you any, at least as of now. If you are specific just around these areas, this is how it is looking like, not moving at all, at a standstill, heavy kind of traffic around that section. But also I'm very sure that around the roundabout, that is around the City Mortuary roundabout, traffic police are already there on different sections just around the roundabout to try and see how best they can control traffic. And again, that is how that area is looking like this morning in terms of traffic. Sections of Prestige, not really that bad, given it's one of those busy areas as well. It's next to a mall, so obviously they expect to be spotting heavy kind of traffic, but that is not the case this morning. So at least on that particular section, moving at a very swift pace. That is how those two sections are looking like this morning in terms of traffic. But like I mentioned, we shall also be tracking the progress of the construction of that phase 3, which is still underway, as well as why the projects around phase 1 and 2, especially those amenities, have taken this long for them to be installed on these various areas around phase 1 and phase 2 of Ngong Road at just 33 minutes per 7. That is how it's looking like in areas around Coptic as well as Prestige Plaza along Ngong Road.
haya mambo yote kwa ajili ya nani?
Hapa sitakufungia tena. Una ruhusa ya kutembea kila mahali unapotaka.
Safari, umewezaje wewe kuishi na huyu Kate?
Amekataa tena, hataki kupambana na Kate tena. Mimi sijui utakaje, hata simuelewi.
You said to solve a problem you have to speak to each other decently.
Kumbuka, Dingo ni mume wangu mimi.
I want to do things the right way, so that I can offer the man I love the love of my life.
What's going on? Is it something serious? Alejandro! The boss called and he ordered me to move all of your stuff to another bedroom, madam. What? I know the truth. I feel it. Since the first time I saw Alejandro in front of me, I felt it.
What in the world are my daughters doing here?
The Amazons.
Right, time for our newspaper review, and on the front page of the Star newspaper, Raila to borrow 2002 Kibaki victory plan. Raila to borrow 2002 Kibaki victory plan. The strategy will ensure ODM leader attains controlling numbers in parliament, and Azimio la Umoja, which is the new political outfit and machine, will battle with Deputy President William Ruto. That is on the front page of the Star newspaper, as well as 1 man killed, 4 injured in botched Muhoroni police operation. Details shortly. And in sports, Manchester United draws Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid lands PSG test. There was a bit of some confusion yesterday during the draw, which led to of a draw again, which was done where there was a contest between Manchester United claiming that the draw was not done properly, and some of the teams were omitted during the draw. That led to that. So Manchester United will face Atletico Madrid, while Real Madrid will land their test with PSG. Okay. Senate gives a scorecard as the House breaks for recess. 73 bills were introduced and 60 motions filed in the House. Of the number 3 that in the scorecard released by Majority Leader Samuel Pogisio, the Senate published 73 bills during the 5th session of the 12th Parliament. Of the number, 3 were concluded and assented to by the President, and 16 were and 16 of them were concluded and sent to the National Assembly for consideration and are still pending there. The senators broke for recess at the end of the 5th session on December 2nd. They will resume on February 8th of the year 2022. All right, still on politics. On that note, Raila to borrow Kibaki's 2022 victory strategy, ODM chief Raila Odinga is putting up together a campaign machine to propel him to State House. That is by reading by reading on tyranny of numbers via his Azimio la Umoja. The plan, according to insiders, will ensure Raila attains controlling numbers in both houses to enable the ODM boss push his legislative agenda. Now, the new arrangement borrows heavily from the defunct National Rainbow Coalition of 2002, which brought to an end KANU's 39 years rule. And like NAC, there will be a hybrid system where Azimio la Umoja coalition and individual parties will field candidates separately during the August 2022 general election. So most likely it's going to be like that Rainbow Coalition where we had the late Norman Nyaga, we had Charity Ngilu, we had C.S. Balala, and so forth and so on. So that is that. We're waiting to see how it will pan out. 1 dead and 4 injured in botched police operation in Moroni. Cops said that they were cornered. The cornered officers fired shots to scare the mob, resulting in the deadly fracas. Apparently, the officers were responding to... They were trying to raid the counterfeit cigarettes in that particular area where the mob and the residents raised alarm, mistaking the officers of robbers, and then the fracas ensued. That is what happened. And 10 parties failed to comply with nomination rules. IEBC says that outfits that have not met the threshold will be given the way forward. And so far, IEBC chairman of Fletcher Bukati yesterday said that 82 out of the 89 parties that had submitted their nomination November, that had met their November deadline, made new submissions and met the threshold. He said that the parties which have not met the threshold will be given the way forward. And finally, there was a scenario in Donholm where a husband returned at 4 a.m. and found his wife in an uncompromising situation with a man, and chaos ensued. So husband stabs man caught in bed with his wife at dawn. So on his way to the bedroom, the man collected strange wallet and a pair of trousers. So it started with a man called Kangenchu, who it said that they met at a local, bar called Barizi Bar in Donholm at around 9 p.m. where they enjoyed several rounds of drinks, celebrating their newfound friendship. That is the man and the lady in question. And one thing led to another, and they agreed to head to the woman's house. At 4 a.m., the owner of the house checked in from an apparent trip he had taken to Muranga. And on his way to the bedroom, the husband collected a strange wallet and a pair of trousers, further confirming his fears that there was an unwelcome visitor in his house. Your gaze is as good as mine. He's now surviving, fighting for his life. Yep.
Watu wana watch movie mingi sana. But
movie scripted. Yeah. Audacity.
Marriages, relationships.
Audacity.
Crazy. But it's really sad that we're seeing so many of such cases in the recent times. Relationships gone sour, one partner killing the other, or killing a third party, or maiming a third party. Hey.
But I tend to feel like these things have just been happening over time, only that now it's just in the lights.
People need to go for therapy and counseling to help deal with their, especially those that are married, the marital issues before it gets to such a point, where one has to kill the other. And if it's really, there's really no way forward, just go your separate ways, You don't have to end up killing each other or somebody losing their life in the process of, I caught you. To just prove a point.
Your life is more precious. It's the only thing you have.
So again, it's a price that guys can afford to pay these days. But it's easier said than done.
It's a price that people can afford to pay today?
It's a price that guys are paying.
Wow. It's a painful one though.
A few years back, a life was priceless.
Yeah.
These days, niambie ni siku gani inapita kama hujasikia somebody has been stabbed or killed in a situation where somebody lost their temper or something.
But then it happened so fast. At 9 p.m. they met at a local bar. At 4 p.m. the gentleman came back. Kidogo ndio hiyo.
Wait, this gentleman was a friend to the lady or to the...
No, they met.
The circumstance is
yes,
the
they
same.
used a local joint in Donholm, in Pipeline. So, kidogo, text 1, 2,
like
can
this,
you agree?
like that.
Yes, so it's getting late. See, we head home. Yeah, we can come over. Mzee yuko. All right.
Piece of advice.
Yes.
Ukienda out, venye ulienda, rudi hivyo hivyo. Mwenye mlienda na yeye, rudi na yeye. Usikuje na any additional new members to the party. Are we together?
We are together.
Are we together?
We are together.
Good.
And the circumstance is always the same. Kuna tuka triangle mahali. The circumstance is always the same.
Self-awareness is important. Uendavyo, ndivyo rudivyo. Aya.
Okay.
Let's come to the Daily Nation, and we start with a rather sad story still in regards to the gold mine that caved in, abandoned to die in the mine. That is the caption here. Tom Okwach, 35, has not had a meal for the past 13 days now in a row, and the last communication with him was 3 days ago. Now, I was able to go through this particular story very briefly. It's really sad that this is actually where we are in regards to the rescue efforts of these miners. Remember, initially they were 10. 8 have been rescued and are recuperating. 1 succumbed just before he was pulled out of this particular mine, but succumbed to his injuries. But looking at this particular case, only one, Tom Okwach, aged 35, is yet to be pulled from this mine. He hasn't had a meal in the last 13 days, and the last communication with him was 3 days ago. And looking at the county government bulldozers, they have gone silent because guess what? They ran out of fuel. For 3 days now. The county government bulldozers have not had fuel to help with the rescue effort. So the volunteers have been trying to contribute money to buy fuel to get this excavator back to work, but it has also not bore fruits. So now they have resorted to using bare hands, hose, and shovels just to be able to scoop out the soil that is blocking the access to this mine. I mean, this is a national matter. It's something that almost all the leaders in this particular area know of.
Yeah.
But a bulldozer can run out of fuel for 3 days now, and nothing has been done to help speed up these efforts to rescue this one man that is still trapped under there.
And you have got local leadership there.
Look, I mean, a bulldozer that belongs to the county government, mind you. It doesn't belong to a private individual or entity. Anyway,
just before you continue, Wamboy, that story reminds me like the story of what happened in Kitui. And after that particular incident, leaders were coming out to say that this bridge was actually supposed to be erected. We had been talking about this, but I hope now the government is going to handle it with the urgency. And then it just reminds me that sometimes, does it have to actually be followed by an incident, perhaps lives being lost before full action is taken?
And the sad thing is, I am sure at some point somebody will be using this as a campaign line. We will get more machinery and manpower and equipment to help avoid such situations.
And vulnerable Kenyans will be caught into that.
Yeah.
It's really angering when you think about it. But now let's come back to the Daily Nation. Looking at the main story, Uhuru's big dilemma as half cabinet joins politics. So with several CSs having been, noticed to be eyeing some political seats or having aligned themselves to emerging formations ahead of the 2022 general elections, the head of state could either make new appointments or ask the remaining ones to act in the vacant dockets. A number of CSs have been, open about their political intentions, and this could mean come February, some of them could be resigning from their offices and joining now the, aspiring for the seats that they are eyeing. So what does that mean for the head of state? Will he have to make new appointments, or will he direct the CSs that will still be in office to act in capacity until his time in office runs out? A story that has been covered here on page 4. Coming to a bit of health, we have rising infection rates could lead to new lockdowns this December, and the government has said it is considering reintroducing a lockdown as one among some of the stringent measures in if the spike in corona infections continues on the particular path that is on right now, and it is not contained, because after 2 months, COVID-19 cases have been on the rise once again. And then again, looking at this long weekend, fun-filled, the Soul Generation, Sauti Soul put up a beautiful concert. It was called the Soul Fest. It was the highlight for so many people this past weekend. It happened the night of the 12th. So many people said that, this is the kind of entertainment that we need here in the country, where we have artists who are actually putting up quality concerts, using quality services to deliver their performances, and therefore, a step in formalizing the entertainment industry. And finally, the Ndishu case. So sisters now face assault charges, and they are said to have assaulted Miss Munira Hassan Mohammed, who is an associate of the Ndishu brothers, on the night of 16th and 17th of October. However, FIDA has come in to ask what are the grounds for these potential charges that the sisters could be facing, saying that there is evidence that is bright as day. So how can there be a twist in all of this? That is the Daily Nation for you this morning. Doreen.
All right, let's come to the People's Daily, and perhaps you can begin with what happened during Jamhuri Day celebration. And this is just in regards to the questions that Kenyans were asking. Why didn't the governor get a chance to speak, whereby we fully know that anytime there's a national event in a particular county, the county boss at least has an opportunity to either welcome other leaders or at least speak. But Kananu has come out to strongly give reasons to why she didn't get that chance to speak during the Jamhuri Day celebrations, and also just citing that the relationship between him and the president is actually good and cordial, which is again one of the questions that Kenyans were asking about the relationship between her and the president. Also, DCI profiles data of ringleaders in school unrest. We also had this particular story this morning with Regina and the GMK news briefs, and this is just in a bid to try and make sure that actually students become disciplined. And the DCI has continued to give reasons as to why they're actually profiling this particular students and the kind of repercussion that is set to befall them because of those school unrest and the fires that these particular students have caused. And also UNESCO is now joining calls for better oversight of private education, just saying that especially the African countries, that there's a lot of imbalance when it comes to public as well as private schools, and this is because of what different governments are doing, whereby they're not giving, they're not actually assisting or helping public schools enough, and there's no proper oversight of the private facilities. That is why they get so much ahead, making the public facilities to lag behind. And to some bit of politics, now politicians are trooped to Raila's Azimio la Umoja movement, where there are now different political parties just trying to join in on the ODM's camp, that is the Azimio la Umoja. There are two individuals who have just joined in recently, and actually that was on Friday when he was launching that. So when we get the details, I'm telling you about these two individuals who decamped from the DP's party to join the Azimio la Umoja, and why they felt it was necessary for them to join in on that particular party. And again, also to some politics, to continue rather with some politics, that now one of the Oka leaders, that is Wetangula, says that Oka will actually win elections, and he gives reasons to why he thinks One Kenya Alliance is the best fit for next year's elections to form, for the best fit from government for next year's election, and more reasons to why he knows and is actually believing that this particular party will win elections come 2022. And even as the government continues to ramp up support for vaccinating at least 10 million Kenyans by Christmas, as it stands, around 8,000 teens have already taken that COVID vaccine, and whatever it is that they're putting them on is on the Pfizer vaccine, and they're continuing to come up with ways and measures to just try and ensure that at least when it gets around that time, these Kenyans that they are planning to have vaccinated, all of them will be vaccinated. And again, also there's a latest report by KNCHR, that is the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights. This is actually the third report since since the inception of COVID-19, which just shows the number of Kenyans that have lost jobs, as well as the impact of COVID-19 to the various sectors. And this specific report just targets the small and medium scale enterprises, and also citing the number of Kenyans who've lost jobs since that time, whereby the number stands at around 2 million, and also giving reasons to why those in the public sector or the public service at least were able to retain their jobs compared to their counterparts in the private sector. And again, also universities have been urged to realign with the CBC curricula, or there'll be repercussions there. This is just a statement by the PSUs now urging institutions to act swiftly and review their programs to realign with the competency-based curriculum that is the CBC. In a nutshell, that is how the PD looks like this Tuesday. Ray.
Now, just to quickly summarize what we have on the front page of the Standard this morning, the scribes here have a story, and this culminates in the race to the general elections come August 9th, 2022. It's according to this particular scribe, it is going to be a two-horse race, the makings of a third horse race, while some of the analysts who have been quoted in this particular article say that is mostly unlikely. So Raila versus Ruto, making of an epic political battle. We all watched what was transpiring during the celebrations, where President there in a more subtle manner seemingly was endorsing Raila Odinga's candidature. That has found itself on the front page of the Standard. Now, going back to what has been happening in Migori County, Siaya, where the 8 miners were trapped under a gold mine. So far, 6 have been rescued alive. The families of the 2 who remain are still hopeful that they're going to be rescued aside. Now, in a new plot twist is at NEMA, the environmental agency there has denied knowledge or even accrediting that particular gold mine, saying that it was an illegal gold mine site. On the other hand, the county has come out and say that, mining is not a devolved function of the county government. However, they're going to pay for the cost of the excavators that are currently on ground doing the rescue. So what is the fate of artisanal miners? This is a question that has been asked by a majority of Kenyans. Remember, we practice artisanal mining from the Makalda mines to the mines in Nyatike, so to speak. Most of the miners are artisanal miners there, and that is probably why they find themselves in this situation. So what is the way forward? The government has also, there were plans to do an audit, so to speak, an overall topographic audit of our mineral sites in the country, terrestrial as well as on the seas, so to speak. We are yet to get the report of where our resources are in as far as minerals are concerned. So there's a lot of conversation around mining and such, with Colonel Rosanga there, who is the CIA governor, saying that the state has ignored the miners, and being that mining has not been devolved, that is why the governor is pushing for the national government to join rescue efforts. Talking about matters business and matters of economics, is that Kenya's forex reserve have fallen by 102 billion shillings, or rather 101 billion shillings. And according to the CBK, this is in correlation, or rather coincided with the weakening shilling that has been touching new lows. Right now, it's trading at 112 against the greenback. So we're likely going to see that as we even head to the general election. And some of the traders have come out and say, the reason why this is happening is maybe because importers are showing in more cash, there's more demand for dollars as people make purchases ahead of the festive season. That is what is on the front page of the Standard this morning. Just to give you more details as we continue with the headlines, there's also a human interest story where a high court has allowed a 90-year-old man a paternity test of 3 adults using his name. So the man says the records of the 3 at the Registrar General naming him as their father is inaccurate, illegal, and fictitious. This particular dispute dates back to 1988, when he informed the local chief and told even those children to return to their mother's home. in a twist here is that the three men claim that their mother passed on, and the old man's mother, ZN, took them in and raised them to maturity, and that it was their grandmother who bestowed them upon the name of the man who wants the DNA. Now, the court noted that the old man's mother took in the three after their mother died, and she raised them to maturity, and in the judge's view, the act amounts to a sufficient evidence, a sufficient basis to warrant a DNA test. So the man says he does not want them he's at an advanced stage, and he wishes to have the paternity issue conclusively resolved, as he does not want the three to one day claim any part of his estate. That is a 90-year-old man. We've already highlighted the issue of the state of minors there. And in the big read this morning, it's all about the making of an epic contest between Raila and Ruto. I want to quote three people who have been mentioned in this particular article before handing it over to the rest of my colleagues to just give us more details of the stories that they have highlighted. I'd want to start off with Herman Manyora, who is a lecturer at the University of Nairobi. He says, and this is his opinion when it comes to, are we going to have a two-man horse, are we going to have two-horse race, or is it three or such, or where do we stand as far as matters politics are concerned currently? So according to Herman Manyora, he says, Oka will disintegrate, and the principles are likely to go back to Raila. Only Mudavadi has remained stubborn and could decide to run. In short, there is no third force in the race. That is according to Herman Manyora, who is a lecturer at the University of Nairobi. On the other hand, Mutula Kilonzo Jr., who is the Wiper vice president, he says, we won't accept dictatorship as to who will become a presidential candidate. That issue of endorsing a president to us, we said no, and we won't accept it, and we will refuse him. We want Kenyans to be given an opportunity to choose. Your guess is as good as mine when they say him. We know all who he is referring to, given what happened in the last celebrations that we held, and the president was there, and we seemingly had a subtle endorsement of a Raila candidature for the president. Last but not least, Kotu Secretary General Francis Atwoli in regard to the race between Raila and Ruto. So, being in quotes, being that third force will be a waste of time. If someone has money to burn, let them come and burn it. But it will definitely be a two-horse race of Raila and Ruto. Drops mic. If you got money to burn as a third horse, burn it. Come burn it. But as far as Francis Atwoli, the Kotu Secretary General, is concerned, this is going to be a two-horse race where the horses are Raila and Ruto. What is your take when it comes to matters politics? Remember, Good Morning Kenya is open to your feedback. You can get us on Twitter at KBC Channel 1 News.
But does it look something more like obvious based on what Atwoli is saying?
Yeah.
But you see, a day in politics is quite a long time. Sure. And as we look at it now with the seemingly change of tact from Kiraito Muronge there with his bus saying that, we had seen him warm up towards supporting Raila Odinga's candidature. But now he came out and said that his people are going to be supporting a president who has their interests at heart. When we say a day in politics is quite a long time, yeah. It is. So we're going to continue seeing this change of tact and allegiances, so to speak. It is not over until the fat lady sings. That's what they say. So we'll be keeping tabs on that. As they say, Africa is our business, or rather, can we say Kenya is our business? And talking about Kenya being our business, there's an update in as far as to investigations into the ownership of the Weston Hotel. And they choose here to go with the Weston Hotel saga. Now, that case is to be mentioned before Justice Lady Mbogwa on March 15th, 2022. The hotel claims the case filed by the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority was fueled by politics. Was it? This case dates back to January 2019, where the National Lands Commission finds that the land where the Western sits is public and orders Western to pay the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority to regularize the process. June 12th of the same year, that is 2019, KCA files against Western and Monene Investment and Priority. 3rd of March 2021, Justice Eboso rules that the Land Court has powers to hear the case. July 12th, 2021, the case is set for hearing and an application to suspend the hearing pending appeal filed. September 1st, 2021, Western moves to court for an appeal. September 16th this year, Judge Eboso declines to suspend the hearing. And now we have a date when the case is to be mentioned. Around this time, March, this is the time we're going to be having the party primaries. I don't know if you're reading politics into this, but hey, it is as speculative as is. Remember, we are not here to make judgment. We're just like to, pick your mind as to what is really happening out there. So save the date, so to speak. March 15th, 2022 is when we're going to be having that case mentioned there. And if you want to read about Raila's history, when from that day, heydays when he was sporting a goatee, and now he is fondly remembered or referred to as Baba. Well, there's a special report in this particular daily. Victor.
Oh, yeah. All right. The case of Western has been going on for quite some time. And, once a case is before a court's been filed, it can take even 15, 20 years. Remember, the courts actually are handling cases dating back to 2015, some of them 2010. Exactly. Some of them have stayed, more so land-related cases and labor relations and what have you. It's a process. But they say that the wheels of justice, it grinds slowly.
But whenever, just before you move on to the story, whenever Western is mentioned, who comes to mind? Mm-hmm. Yes. And this goes back to a conversation. I don't know if it's you, Regina, who had it here, but it's a discussion we've had it here on Good Morning Kenya when it comes to separating you as an individual and your entities.
Yeah.
Even if you have properties, don't put them under your name, put them under your company's name such that you can separate yourself from the company or the entity. In the event that one of the two is implicated in any situation, the other can survive you.
But Jen, that's the rule. But then in politics, is that the rule? Yeah, they will bring you, they will drag you into that, to ambie that this camera belongs to you, Jen. Yes, it belongs to you. Apana, it belongs to the company being managed.
I want to remind you guys that when Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i appeared in front of the Senate PIC. Remember that? When we were told to the letter how many chicken are owned and the security apparatus bestowed to the deputy president. So I get what you're saying. That's what I'm saying. Perception. Perception, especially where we are headed, especially to within this political atmosphere and the elections just around the corner. It will be key. It will be key. Now, before we get to discuss what is happening in the political scene, how about to give you a sneak peek into what is happening on our major roads once again. Traffic Marshal, take it away.
All right, let's quickly go to the roads. Like I mentioned earlier, we are just going to be focusing on what is happening along Ngong this Tuesday, and specifically also just trying to track the progress of the third phase of that particular route. Let's try and see if at all things have changed, especially around areas of Coptic before we get to the Prestige Plaza. And actually, even before we go to Coptic, things have just changed around this area. And this is perhaps where we just need to keep looking at how the roads are looking like, perhaps to even just give you some alternative routes if at all we'll be getting to find any, because every time we look at the roads, something has just changed. Ultimately, this is how the section around Prestige is looking like. You can remember that earlier on around this area, it was a smooth sailing. There was actually no traffic, given the fact that it's one of those busy busy sections along Ngong Road, and this is simply because it's just around the mall next to a bus terminus. So obviously we would be expecting to be spotting or seeing heavy kind of traffic in this early morning hour, and like I mentioned earlier, there was none of that when we're looking at how the roads are looking like in the first traffic link, but that has changed altogether at just about 9 minutes past 8 a.m. This is how the area is looking like, not moving at all, at a standstill along areas of Ngong Road. And this is again one of the major reasons, or perhaps what necessitated expansion of Ngong Road, because basically what has been happening along this route, much as there's been a lot of ongoing road activities, which up until now is still ongoing on major parts along this route. Part of what necessitated all these projects is just the heavy kind of traffic along this area, because it's one of those busy roads. When you look at the kind of businesses, companies, industries, small, medium scale alike, quite a number of them, and also the number of estates that this route gets to serve, clearly also quite a number of them, and that is part of why the road was expanded. Still some ongoing roadworks on sections of this particular stretch, and just trying to look at how the area is still looking like nothing is changing around this section of Prestige Plaza, which is still along Ngong Road, specific to that lane that is coming to the city center. Perhaps why I'm still staying on this particular stretch is try and see if at all anything is going to change, but clearly nothing is changing. Still heavy kind of traffic. In fact, just around, or better still, on that particular section of Prestige, still heavy kind of traffic, not moving at all. That is what that maroon color actually indicates. Heavy kind of traffic at a standstill. So it just means that if you are actually in this area, there's clearly no alternative route that we can give you, because if you are on this area, if at all you're coming to city center intending to use this particular stretch, then it just simply means that you'll have to make do with this heavy kind of traffic there on that particular section. And actually it looks like this begins all the way from areas around the Adams Arcade roundabout, and it continues up until the stretch of the Prestige Plaza, all the way trickling down to areas of Coptic. And that is just how the area actually, like I mentioned, looked like, and that actually is what is, the traffic around that area begins from the areas around the Adams Arcade roundabout, continuing throughout that entire stretch up until sections of Coptic past the Prestige there before you get to the city mortuary roundabout. Heavy kind of traffic on that particular section. And the sad part is that actually after the areas of Prestige still coming to the Adams Arcade, the same is being witnessed on both lanes of this particular stretch. Now when I'm talking about both lanes, just simply means as you leave areas of city mortuary roundabout, coming through that entire section as you head over to the estates, which is again what you wouldn't be expecting to see in the early morning hour, because oftentimes on lanes or roads as leading to estates, you'd barely be expecting to be seeing every kind of traffic, because there's actually no activities. But again, like I mentioned, this is one of those roads where there's just a lot of activities. When you look at the companies, industries, businesses, a number of them, so it could be leading to going to the estates where you wouldn't be expected to be spotting heavy kind of traffic, but then again could be still leading to people heading over to their workstations. Businesses along this particular stretch, just like I mentioned, serves a lot of activities, and that is perhaps why we are seeing that heavy kind of traffic being witnessed on both lanes of this particular stretch as you leave areas of Dagoretti, Karen, Ngong, Adams, coming to the city center, and also leaving areas of Langata, Mbagathi Way, Kenyatta, Valley Road as you head over to sections of Ngong Road there. But then again, we can also not forget the fact that there's still, like I mentioned, ongoing roadworks, especially on the third phase of this particular stretch, and this is perhaps why we are spotting the heavy kind of traffic that we are seeing this morning. And like I mentioned, that still continues to sections of Adams. Nothing is changing there, but it looks like just a bit of some change before you get to the Adams Arcade roundabout, at least throughout this entire stretch before you get to where the third phase begins at. Looks like at least on this particular stretch moving at a very swift pace, clearly indicated by that green color, which is a clear indicator of that, and that continues all the way again just before you get to that particular roundabout as you get to branch off to areas of Kibra, one of those mini roundabouts there. So again, also at least on this stretch, or better still on this roundabout, you do not expect to be seeing the heavy kind of traffic, given it's one of those mini roundabouts, just gets to branch off to that particular slip road there, that is the Kibra Station Road. And again, away from that area, moving or coming again to the city center, actually where there's really heavy kind of traffic is as you leave areas areas of Prestige going all the way. Sections of Kenya Science, not that bad. Again, one of those areas where a footbridge has been designated to be installed, but that also hasn't happened. This is one of those areas, that is the Kenya Science Teachers College. Sections of Junction Mall as well, not really that bad. So it just looks like where there's really heavy kind of traffic, again, like I mentioned, is just as you leave areas of Prestige going all the way. Areas of Dagoretti as you head over to Dagoretti up until Karen, where the third phase actually covers, at least on that particular stretch, still no traffic at all. So again, if you're leaving those areas, looks like it's a smooth sailing for you up until sections of Prestige Plaza. That's just where you'll have to really make do with the heavy kind of traffic up until areas of the city mortuary roundabout there, where again there's really still heavy kind of traffic. So it looks like just where you really have to make do with that traffic, like I mentioned, areas around Prestige, areas around Coptic, as you head over to the city center. Perhaps what we might be needing to do is try to look at some better alternative routes, at least for those coming to CBD and are around that area where there's really heavy kind of traffic. But at just 14 minutes past 8 a.m., that is how sections of Ngong Road look like, and particularly the second as well as the third phase of that particular route.
You could be seated there, not knowing you're the newest millionaire in town. Want to know how? Visit ufaa.go.ke or dial *361# and find out if there's any unclaimed cash and other financial assets in your name. Labda umeomoka na ujui. Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority. Receive, safeguard, reunite.
The Amazons.
I want to do things the right way, so that I can offer the man I love, the love of my life.
What's going on? Is it something serious? Alejandro!
The boss called and he ordered me to move all of your stuff to another bedroom, madam.
What? I know the truth. I feel it. Since the first time I saw Alejandro in front of me, I felt it. What in the world are my daughters doing here?
The Amazons.
Try to push you over. If you should lose me, you lose my kitchen. Girl, you are a queen to me, yeah. And I'm so proud that I'm your king. You bring up the sense to me.
There. Who the hell are you?
It's none of your business, okay? Who do you think you are?
Don't play tricks on me.
Are you threatening me here?
My requirement is roll straight, roll nicely, and quickly. Boss butt. Roll!
You should communicate with Mr. Tongmore. Considering your relationship, it won't be difficult.
用一段故事建筑一座城堡，回忆放进去后就不再打。
welcome back. And now it's time for politics. Let's talk politics, okay? And on People and Politics today, we need to focus on what happened over the past few days in the country. We are in that season that anything is politics and everything is politics. And as you always know, Kenyans consume politics. And we just need to understand what happened at the Azimio la Umoja Convention. That's the National Delegates Conference in Kasarani on Friday, as well as some of the sentiments that were made during the Jamhuri celebrations on Sunday. And to help me handle this agenda in studio, I have Dr. Richard Bosire, who is a political scientist, as well as a senior lecturer at the University of Nairobi. He's also a political commentator as well. Karibu Daktari.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And via Zoom, I'm joined by Abdullahi Ahmed, who is also a journalist and columnist, as well as a political commentator. Today, he decided to go via Zoom. He's always here with us, live in studio. Abdullahi, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Victor. It's
Absolutely.
a good morning, Nairobi.
Good. All right, it's a cold one. I hope that's why you didn't make it. But anyway, so for another day. All right. And who will be joining me shortly is Tabitha Ogutu from Sierra, who will also be joining me via Zoom so that we can have gender parity. Hey, it's equate you know, gender parity should be joining us shortly. So to start off, let me start with Dr. Bosire here, who is a lecturer at the University of Nairobi. Dr. A lot happened over the past few days, and let's just bring it home closer to what happened at the Jamhuri Day celebration. First of all, we are 58 years old as a country. Are we making strides?
I would say, yes, Victor, that we are making strides. For 58 years, we have made a lot of strides in terms of development, whether it's in education, healthcare, whether it is in agriculture, industry, even governance. We have made strides in our country.
Yeah.
We could have done better, but we are still on our path to better things in the future.
Yeah.
So 58 years have gone, but again, we need to reorganize ourselves. That's why we have elections every 5 years, so that we can renew our strength, particularly in the front of governance and management of public affairs, so that we can do better for the future.
Abdullahi, it's still the season, we're still celebrating Jamhuri Day. We are 58 years old. The president's speech was just 34 minutes long. He said that nimeongea mengi, tulipewa nafasi tukaongea pale bungeni. What stood out during the president's speech?
Well, I think it is good that Kenya is celebrating 58 years of independence. And when our forefathers received the independence from our colonial masters, I don't think 58 years later they thought us speaking about the same thing Kenyatta spoke about: inequality, lack of access to health, poverty, corruption. So what I think happened for me is a president who showed a lot of might. I was at Uhuru Gardens around there, and just to observe what was happening, I saw there was a lot of military. There was militarization of the event. You can provide some security, but I think there was some exaggeration of security and show of might. Kenya is a country that is close to 50 million now. What stood for me is a president who gave the shortest speech, but when he invited Raila after the deputy president.
Yes.
I don't know what the president was thinking. That was the deputy president office is in the presidency. So the thing you call ile madharau ndogo ndogo. But by and large, it was a glamorous day. Kenya is still a peaceful country, enjoying relatively a very peaceful country. We've made strides, as my colleague has said, in so many areas. But remember, the Kenyan economy is controlled by the 1%. 8,300 people control 99% of the Kenyan economy. So that, for me, when you talk about Jamhuri Day or Independence Day, I ask myself, Jamhuri Day for whom? The poor man or the rich guy dicing and dashing in opulence? So there is a lot of equality in this country. The president has failed the major elephant that was in the room, that is corruption. In the last 10 years, close to 30% of our budget is stolen the budgetary. There is corruption in every ministry. If you look at the latest report, November last year by the DPP, the people who steal from us are not just the ordinary Kenyans. These are cabinet secretary, these are permanent secretary, these are county commissioners, deputy county commissioners, MCAs, people in the procurement sector. So I think if the president has said the big four, but how do you find the big four if close to 14.5 billion Kenyan shillings is stolen by the people you employed to serve Kenyans? So the president is leaving a country that is dated. We are in debt. He's living in a country that is very poor. Economy has grown for whom? 58 years after independence, we have Kibra and Madara in Nairobi. Nairobi is, if it rains today, you'll agree with me that it's very filthy. Nairobi is very filthy. So we as Kenyans must think, as my colleague has said, what is it that we are not doing right? What we are not doing right is most Kenyans are given opportunity to serve positions of privilege are stealing from us, and that's the problem.
Okay. Terry, you've heard what Abdullah has said.
Yes, I've heard clearly. I think Abdullah might not be really fair in some cases. I think I'm hopeful. Usually I'm a hopeful person. I hope that we shall do better. And I want to be very optimistic, because without that we might not make headways in our government or in managing public affairs. When he says that there was a problem, there is a problem in this country, that can only be tracked back to the presidency, just the presidency, I think we're wrong. Because the problems in this country are compounded because Kenyans themselves do not believe that they are going to make a difference. They are going to move out of this corruption so that we can build our country. Who steals these monies? There are people, there are citizens who are conniving with the leaders in this country to steal from public coffers, not to implement, to build roads, not to even build bridges. We have seen really terrible situations. But I would like to see it as a compounded issue that is linked to even the public psyche. What do people think? Do we really, if we want to deal with this corruption, we could, like in 2003, people, the citizen arrests were a feature in our political landscape, or in our politics in this country, even in our governance in this country. Where did they go? We lost it because citizens now gave up, and we dived into the pool of corruption, and everyone is corrupt. We also have, not everyone really, but most people are corrupt. Then we have other issues, Victor, that contribute to the state of poverty in our country. We have, besides corruption, we have access to credit. Access to credit. It's very expensive for people to get credit from the banks and do their businesses, to be able to develop themselves and even contribute, even in terms of taxes, to the growth of this country. That is an issue that government should really be concerned about. High power bills. We have high power bills. These are things that are,
the president talked about.
These are things that actually are troubling this country. I don't know why legislators cannot control this animal called KPLC. They give us exaggerated bills. They are killing businesses. They are making production costs in this country so high that the price of our goods is so high that we often go for cheap imports from China and other countries, Victor. There are other issues that I would have mentioned. Access to education. Kibaki government from 2002 made a deliberate decision that we need to provide free primary education. and free now secondary education and university education, so that through education, then we can be able to strike this poverty, on this poverty.
Right.
So there are many issues. It's a compounded situation. We have poor governance. What are our priorities? We go for mega projects, Aurora and Kimarel dams, and the Itare dams, and all these, you know, mega projects. How often, or how can this project, let me say, how can these projects contribute to the growth, the general growth of the country, to help that poor person in the rural area?
Actually,
to be able,
in today's power, we're talking about how, you know, the government paid billions of shillings to Lake Turkana wind project, which
was never done.
Yes.
Which was never done. Aron and Kimaren Dam.
Exactly.
Money was paid out. Nothing was done. We were told only 7 billion got lost. But we are seeing that company trying to, recently I saw it in the media, they're looking for 80 billion to be compensated for the contracts and for nothing, actually for doing nothing.
Okay. All right. Daktari, I'll come back to that shortly, but then let's go back to what happened at Uhuru Gardens.
Yes.
When the president took the stand, you know, he gave his 34-minute long speech, which was quite unlikely after an elaborate celebration of the 19th Battalion. He said during his remark that watu wazee wanataka kuongelesha, and he broke the protocol, which was not, you know, nobody expected. Perhaps, Director, if you can just play this clip and see exactly what happened at Uhuru Gardens, when the president, after his speech, off the cuff speech, he called the the Honorable Raila Odinga to speak after everything was done. Let's take a look.
Ningefanya makosa kama singemshukuru mmoja kati yetu hapa ambaye tumekuwa tukiongea na yeye kutoka miezi karibu 14 wakati nilianza hii project ya Uhuru Gardens, ambaye tumetembea na yeye hapa sana na amenipatia mawaidha. Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga, nasema asante sana kwa yale ambayo umetusaidia kutenda. Naonekana hawa wazee wanataka uwaongeleshe, kuja uwasalimie jamani.
There you have it. After everything was done, you know, tumeongea na yeye, tumetembea na yeye, amenipatia mawaidha ever since we started this project almost miezi 14 iliyopita, and then now inakaa hawa wazee wanataka uongee nao, kuja ongea nao. Let me start with you, Abdullahi. Did you expect that to happen? All right. Getting to you briefly, Ahmed.
I think it's not the first time the president broke the protocol. Remember in Kisumu, when he went there, he also called the Raila Odinga after Deputy President William. So when I think I want to go back to discussions we had, but what the president is trying to do is to force a candidate down the throat of Kenyans. That's not a good thing. The professor talked about Kibaki, his race for citizenship. That is what leadership offers people, inspires people. I want to ask him, even if it's if the presidency, everything is right with the presidency, if the office of the prosecutor is saying that cabinet secretaries, permanent secretaries, the county commissioners, deputy county commissioners are stealing from Kenyans. Am I in charge of that department? It's the president who is in charge of that department. He needs to call these people and replace them with other Kenyans. Unless we are not told that they are working for him. I mean, why will the president, in almost all these competent Kenyans, don't allow other Kenyans of high integrity to lead? So I will say everything starts with the presidency. Singapore was changed by one man who brought vision and discipline. Kenya requires to go how to implement policies, not projects and procurements. When you have a policy that is followed to the letter, then everything will work. If we had good policies, the health department, doctors will not have died. We will not have doctors or nurses having not PPEs. So our policies are not implemented per se because everyone in government working under the presidency is stealing from us, and the president is watching. That's why I'm blaming him. Why is he not replacing? Just like Rotich was sent out, Thuge was sent out, other people are still in court. I mean, the president's supposed to be a very credible person. Is he a credible person? That is very debatable. Being credible means people will trust you. You are honest. You are truthful. You are very, a person who looks at the interest of Kenya. Can we say with, certainty today, compared to Kibaki, that President Uhuru Kenyatta, I don't want people to mix their ethnic thinking. If you come from a certain region and it happens that the president maybe come from your backyard, please don't defend him. Just say that this is what is wrong with him. This is what he did right. This is what he is supposed to do. So please, let us not have some
many people being prosecuted and held out of office.
So what we need as a country is people must know that Kenya belongs to 50 million Kenyans. Everything. If the father is a drunkard, if the father is stealing the money from the house, do you expect the children and the mother to do anything in the house, or even produce graduates and people who are disciplined? The head of this country, the symbol is the presidency. If the presidency has failed us, everything below fails. That's why I place everything at the doorstep of the president. He appoints people, Attorney General, Solicitor General, head of the military. Every person appointed, he is the one who decides who is picked, including the cabinet secretary, including the permanent secretary. So if they fail him, it is him to decide to give us more Kenyans. If he did not, we need to ask him why.
Okay. All right. Perhaps you didn't answer my question directly, but fine, I will handle it at that. Dr. When the president called Raila Odinga, after everything was done, he broke the protocol, and many people would argue that Raila Odinga is a key and a national figure that during that Jamhuri Day celebration ought to have been given a minute or two to address the nation. But after this president spoke, are you seeing some political pointers to that statement?
Victor, there could be political pointers. It's true. We are in a political season. The president has hinted that he could have had the prime minister as his preferred candidate as an individual, not as an institution. He is doing that individually. He has even said it many times that he has a right, constitutional right, to make any pronouncement that he might want to make as a citizen of this country. There's nothing wrong with that. The problem is that in our political scene, there are those who want to benefit from propaganda and say this is a presidential project. If there is anybody who cannot be a project, is Raila Odinga. He has stood for presidency for this is the 50th time. So whose project could he have been before, and now is being touted as a project? I think we have the kind of politics that we play in this country that again is one that murkies the waters. For us to get the right leadership, I'm not saying that Raila Odinga is the right leadership. We make it murky so that those people who have a dubious background find a chance to get into those offices. So giving Raila Odinga a chance is not, to speak, is not really like Madarau Ndogondogo, as Bulai has said it. Madarau for who? The president is the highest office, as he has pointed out. So the president doesn't need to seek permission of the master of ceremony to give Raila Odinga a chance to speak. In politics, you don't see protocol as really a major issue. And in any event, Raila Odinga did not even campaign for himself when he spoke. He spoke about where we have come from. In fact, among all those guests who were there, Raila is the one living who has been detained for the sake of our freedom, of our better governance and all that. In fact, in the past, we have seen freedom fighters when they were alive. Even his father and others, Achieng Oneko, they were given a chance to address. Jamhuri Day is a day of celebration of our heroes who fought and heroines who fought for our freedom. And the president, so if the president saw it fit that he gives Raila Amolo Odinga a chance to speak, I think there was nothing wrong about that.
Yeah.
I see it as a recognition of people who have made a contribution to this country's freedom and progress. So I would think that I cannot fault the president for that. I've heard what Abdullahi has said,
yes.
and he mentions issues to do with the presidency, or the president actually failing to call shots on those
fight.
people who are corrupt,
exactly.
to fight for corruption.
Yeah.
You know, our new constitution provides a framework, even for appointments. These people are vetted in parliament by our own representatives. Vetted through parliament, they get into those offices. And once they are in office, then we realize they have issues. There are procedures for removing these people from office. And I think quite a number of people have been removed, starting from the first term of the Uhuru presidency. And cases have been taken to court, although they have not been finalized. The judiciary, the executive, and the legislature are supposed to work cooperatively or collaboratively to be able to deal with these matters or expedite these matters. They do it expeditiously, but the slow wheels of justice are still rolling. So I would not fault the president alone entirely. I want to say that, Victor, corruption is a systemic issue, and we should look at corruption as systemic. We know, even we had it on 12th, on Sunday, when the president addressed on Jamhuri Day, saying that the Jamhuri Park itself had been grabbed. The people have grabbed the land.
Yeah, that's
there are hotels that are constructed on the grounds. And again, people want us to lose that sight of that. Who are the owners of these hotels, and who are the owners of these facilities constructed on Jamhuri grounds? We need actually to reverse the clock, as it were. We need to deal with these issues of corruption decisively, not to politicize these processes.
Yes, the president talked about it, and you know, many people have been prosecuted. Some cases are before court as we speak. We have got, CS Rotich is still in court, and even some of the former governors. We have got Governor Kidero still fighting for corruption cases in court right now as we speak. But on a scale of 1 to 10, if you would rate the president, his fight against corruption, where and what would you give him on a scale of 1 to 10?
I'll give him maybe 50%. I'll give him 50% because of various reasons. Of course, he could galvanize the system and have people held to account. But there are also independent institutions that are supposed to work against this vice in our country. Those are the ones I would say they have not done their best. The president is a political leader. The president is a political leader. So often, this corruption is politicized. Politics becomes a stumbling block. But we have independent institutions. EACC. We have independent institutions. The judiciary is independent. We have the DPP's office. We need to have these people actually work hard and without any bias. And help this country to deal with these corruption issues and expedite the processes. Let the big fish, as it were. Remember Ringera, Justice Ringera, when he was
small
in
fish.
Small fish, big fish.
Big fish.
So we want to see big fish. Being strangled and being put behind bars. But if we continue this way, we cannot. Of course, the president has the highest responsibility. But the institutions should work really hard to ensure that this vice is actually diminished in our country. And us as the public, we are not, innocent. We support, we bribe the police on the roads. We do all these man of things. Someone tells me even to go for an abstract, Victor, after someone has had an accident, that they have to pay 500 shillings. In the rural places, not in Nairobi. Whenever I go for an abstract, to get it free. But people, the general public, live with this mind that they have to give something to get whatever they want.
All right. Daktari, on the basis of talking about institutions, the Deputy President also talked about it during the Jamhuri Day celebration. And, Director, there's that clip, the deputy president said that the independent institutions should be allowed to do their duties. Perhaps, all right, coming back to it shortly. Abdullahi, if you're there, when everything is talked about, the fight against corruption, Dr. says that, well, he's giving the president 50% on a scale of 1 to 10. That is 5%, 5 out of 10. You're saying that the president is not doing so much, and yet we have, 8 months to go. Are we likely to see many heads rolling between now and August 8th?
Okay.
All right, we'll come back to Abdullahi briefly. Perhaps there's a problem with this connection. So everything happened during that particular celebration, and we usually have this kind of a picture to be painted as the project of the state, and you've talked about it. Why are people so much afraid of being project of the state? And right now, people are saying that Raila Odinga is a state project.
I would say this because that has always been our campaign mantra for some politicians in the country, that if you are a project, like we had it in 2002 when we had not 2002 actually 2013 actually 2002 when President Moi gave us Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta as his successor. We did not pick it up. We did not support, as Kenyans did not support at that moment, because the campaign was that the Moi leadership had failed us. So if the leadership has failed, then the same leadership gives you an individual that they prefer. Definitely what you will be thinking is that we want to perpetuate the failed leadership or the autocratic leadership that we had under Moi for over 24 years. But at this moment, I've seen and I've watched, I'm a watcher of politics and an analyst of politics. The president has not been that categorical and close. He could have attended, for instance, the Friday, but he was away. He was, of course, this is politics. He was away, definitely. He was away. So the project issue is lingering on as a part of the propaganda, but the president is trying to stay away from it and letting, and as I said, letting Raila Odinga be his own man. Raila Odinga has been his own man. We know, let me say this without fear of any contradiction. 2007, Raila Odinga reigned, and we know what happened. We know what happened. Raila Odinga won those elections. 2013, what happened? 2017, the Supreme Court nullified our elections of August. What happened? Raila Odinga had a following. There are people that you cannot just call the project and it sticks. He has been his own man. He has been running and successfully ran.
Okay, all right, Dr. Let me bring in Tabitha here. Dr. Tabitha Ogutu, all the way from Siaya County. Tabitha, good morning.
Good morning, Victor.
Fantastic. We are trying to go back to what happened
and just to understand exactly what happened. And with me here in studio is Dr. Richard Bosire, who is a senior lecturer at the University of Nairobi. We are trying to understand what really happened at the Jamhuri Day celebration when the president, in his normal time, he invited Honorable Raila Odinga to come and speak to the people. And when Raila spoke, he did not talk about politics. He went straight to give the history of, what Jamhuri Day celebration should be. What stood out for you, Tabitha?
Absolutely. I think that we had one of the best Jamhuri Day celebrations, given that the president is marking his last Jamhuri Day. He presided over his last Jamhuri Day in his tenure, serving his 2 terms as the president of the Republic of Kenya. So what we saw on that day, him introducing Raila Odinga, and Raila Odinga coming out very straight, and what he did is basically giving history as it should be, rather than engaging in the local politics, because that is time for politics. Jamhuri Day we celebrated where we have come from as a country, the strides we have made since we had our independence, and how far we are willing to go. And what I liked about it, he spoke as a real statesman, highlighting what our past has been, and even reminding us that we really cannot say that talking about our past is a waste of time. We have to actually talk about our past, remember what we've gone through as a country for us to have even a good foot towards moving forward as a country, because the past of our country is what makes our rich history, is what makes us unique and outstanding. And the fact that the president gave him the first or the last bit to speak, considering that we have so many, how much the president also values the brotherhood between him and Raila, as refers to him as a brother every time. And also, I don't think it is also coincidental that Raila was not, or his name was not in the list of the people to speak. I think it was a more orchestrated move towards the president just wants to appreciating Raila as not just any other leader in this country, but a leader worth even talking after him. I think it was an orchestrated sort of a speech lineup, because it's not the first time the president is doing it, so it's not by coincidence that it happened on Jamhuri Day. But what we can learn from it, or what we can say from it, is it's a very good gesture. If you look at even Raila Odinga and his bid to want to succeed the president come 2022, because he just launched his presidential campaign, and he said openly on Thursday, on Friday, that is going to actually is going to be the ballots come 2022. So these are some of the things that the president is trying to do to really put him out there in the picture. As much as he could not attend his annunciation ceremony there at Kasarani on Friday, but then him coming up yesterday or the previous day and actually publicly getting him out to speak after him, that was an orchestrated sort of a speech, and it was a good one, I think, if you ask me, because I mean, Raila has really fought for this country. He's been a contributor to democracy. The devolution is as a result of Raila, actually. And what I like about him, he understands the history of this country, and as a person who really loves history and understands history, then that is a good leader. We want him to be plotted for the next presidential election. So that was a good gesture between the president and Honorable Raila Odinga. Yes.
Imagine if the president attended the Azimio la Umoja function at Kasarani. Just imagine.
Yes. Yes, I'm trying to imagine it, and absolutely, I think him not attending was a good thing. He supported it. If you look at the whole, the Azimio la Umoja convention at Kasarani, the hands of state was everywhere. That was more of a state ceremony. You'll feel the presence of the president even in his absentia. He was in Tanzania. But what was happening in Kasarani, honestly, the president's hand of the state, or the hand of the state was everywhere on it. And even we had some waziris coming, according to the constitution, no CS can come to or go to any of those kind of functions without the president giving them the go-ahead. So the president, actually, even him not being around, he had a support in this Azimio la Umoja convention, yes.
Okay. Daktari, so the CSS and all the civil servants who are there had the blessings of the president?
I cannot say that for sure. You cannot. People have a right to do what they think is right.
Yeah.
And as you know, Victor, the election, we are in the election period. There are those CSS who want to stand for presidency, and I mean not for president, but for electoral posts. There are those ex-CSS also who want to be Governor Wairia. I've seen him put posters, Governor Wairia for president.
Yeah.
So they have their political ambitions, their political moves they're making. So being there, of course, in the next maybe 2 months, they'll vote out and go and campaign. So they are also positioning themselves in accordance with the formations that are coming up for 2022. But I would like to add that actually the state could not have should have been, was involved, and that is the case. It should have been involved. The state, in the sense of having the presence of police, security, and all that, providing security. We have seen in the past, in the Kasarani place again, in the past, where men in black disrupted a function and people were clobbered and all that. I think the state should do this for everyone who wants to make a convention. They should provide sufficient security for any conventions that are done, so that our people are safe. That should be the norm. We should not say, oh, that is excessive, but we need to ensure that no incident takes place for everyone. Even UDA, if they were to make that, they should be allowed. We saw the convention by Wiper. They did, and it was successful. No incidents. That is the politics. Let's play mature politics. Let the state do its part, and let the people be secure and also exercise their democratic rights.
Okay. Before we get into that, let me just get to what, during that function at the Kasarani Stadium, Director, there is this part where KANU Chairman Gideon Moi attended and was given a platform to speak. Perhaps if you have that ready now.
What we are allied forces. We are allied forces. Baba's gain in gaining ground is our gain. When we gain ground on our side, it is Baba's gain. The forces are one. We are allied. Tunajua the moving target. Na hiyo target is na move, lakini itapata nafasi ambayo itaanza kututulia. And then, Baba, mwaga risasi zako hapo, sisi tunamwaga zetu hapo, basi tunaona mbele itakuwaje. What I would like to ask Kenyans is this. Swali to Kenyans. Who can you trust? Who can you trust with the with the resources of the Republic of Kenya? Who will you trust with the education system? Who will you trust with healthcare? Who will you trust with your family? Who will you trust with your security? You will trust, I can assure you, those who are here and those also who are in Oka. Those you can trust. Outside that realm, ni kitu kingine.
Abdullahi, that is KANU Chairman Gideon Moi at the Kasarani. What's your take on that statement?
Well, everything he said about Save had during his father's reign, we were not safe under his hands. I mean, if he talks about family, in 1984 we lost families in Wagala massacre in Wajir. So Gideon Moi, I'm just wondering, with the guts of coming before Kenya and telling us that and that, what he should focus on is that the people who have put us into this problem are the fathers of those three guys. Raila Odinga's dad was deputy president. Gideon Moi's dad was a president. Uhuru Kenyatta. So you want to tell us that in a country of 50 million, there are no other people who can lead this country. There are no other people who have brains. There are no other. I mean, I listened to the professor. There is a difference between pursuit of power and pursuit of reform. If Raila was, first of all, every man who goes into politics, it's about his self-conviction. It is not about other people. I am currently contesting for a position in Mandela North. I am not doing it because I love people. Vision and change to my people by talking to them and informing them what I've learned either in school, what I've read about, or what I've experienced in my life. So Raila was in pursuit of power all through. So if it was about reforming and changing Kenya, he will not allow more than 200 people to die in this country. All of a sudden, the villain became, the protagonist, and now we are told, my brother. I mean, these are the same guys who have been insulting each other. The internet never forgets. I mean, we were told all the things, all the indecent words any man can say against another man. These two guys have told us. So let us not just listen to what they're telling us. Let us listen to what they're not telling. What they're not telling us is that they have entitlement. They have a title deed that these people, they are the only ones who can lead Kenya. Kenyatta died. Did Kenya die? Kenya is still living, thriving with all the problems he started. Moi died. Everyone will die. What we need is not this idea of having politics of personality and bringing some small gods. Gideon Moi is the son of a former president. Hakuna kitu anaweza tuambia. We need Kenyans to think about how to have a change of guard. New people, new Kenyans, new people from poor background, every Kenyan who has what it takes to lead Kenya. This idea of telling us that the state was not involved, the fingerprints of the state was everywhere. I want to tell my colleague in the studio, Professor, that there is no cabinet secretary who goes to Azimio la Umoja without a nodding of the president. The president knows nani ataenda, nani aendi. Do you think it was not deliberate that the president planned the same day, went to Tanzania to stay there for 3 days, and then 2 days, and then come back? That was a planned thing. The president is a bit calculative in supporting Raila. He is 8 months to election. He is still very careful with him. Remember, in the Machiavellian principle, you first destroy your friends, you bring your enemy closer, and if you're to deal with them, you deal. If a man must be loved or loathed in equal measure, you will rather choose to be feared. So we even don't know up to today whether what if he wants to finish him? He wants to make sure that the last bullet he's talking about, the last minute, he brings Mother Karua and Musalia Mudavadi. 8 months to election is a very long time. My take is to say this self-entitlement of few individuals because they got the privilege of power, the opportunity to serve, and they think the richest people are the family of Raila, the family of Kenyatta. These are the richest people, courtesy of being in government. When these people when we got independence, most of them were just dwellers, like first they were so these percent of Kenyans, over 20 million, have nothing to eat. Actual warriors, not Gideon Moi or Raila.
Okay. We all see what happened. Thank you, Abdullahi. Let me come to you, Daktari. Gideon Moi was present. First of all, that nobody expected him to attend that event at Kasarani. And when he was given time to speak, we all heard what he said. Who will you trust with the system? Who will you trust with the security? Who will you trust with education, and etc., etc.? And then he went ahead and said, Baba, mwaga risasi zako hapo, nasi si pia tumwage zetu hapo, then bas, we'll see. But he did not forget to talk about Oka. It was a smart move.
Victor, I will say this.
Yes.
It's a political season. Gideon Moi is not a fool. He's already nominated by KANU as the flag bearer.
Yeah.
Kalonzo has already been nominated. Mheshimiwa Kalonzo has also been nominated for Wiper. And we are seeing all this going on prior to nomination time for political parties, which will be next year. So what are we seeing here? There is alliance kind of trying to identify with whom that they can build alliances.
Yeah.
There's a talk of like a 2-horse race, maybe 4-horse race or 3-horse race, whatever it is. And the politicians within this season are actually looking for which side are they going support and to build alliances with. So that is why I think Gideon Moi was categorical by saying baba mwaga risasi na sisi tutaweka yetu hapo, which means we shall combine forces in order to take the leadership of this country. For me, there is nothing wrong with that. And I want to say, because Abdullahi has spoken about wanting to stand for election.
Mandera North. He's made a declaration on national television.
I think Abdullahi should from now I'll give him my number so that we can consult. I can help him in some cases.
Abdullahi, if you heard that, you ever got a consultant here?
Yes, and for free. Politics is about interests. Politics is not about enmity. If you want to have permanent enmity with people, that cannot work in politics. I mean, friendship is transient. You cannot permanent friends, you cannot have permanent enemies. And for that reason, we cannot say Raila was fighting the state, therefore he's always outside the state. We should not entrust him with the responsibility to sail or to pilot this our nation to the next level. Everyone should be given an equal chance to govern the country. Whether you are a son of Raila or whether you're a son of Jaramogi or a son of Kenyatta, these issues arose in 2013. But Uhuru Kenyatta became president. And the sins of the fathers cannot be counted on the sons. Our Bible says that clearly, how everyone has his own responsibility. If we have any problem with the Odinga family, then people should say that. If we have a problem with the Kenyatta family, say what it is. Why did Jomo become president of Kenya? It's because he was a freedom fighter. He believed in this country and he fought for the freedom of this country. Not that because now Kenyatta then became president, we have to kick the son, the daughter away for that reason. Politics is about interest. And I want to say this as the last thing, Victor. He mentioned Machiavelli. I've studied Machiavelli. The Prince Machiavelli speaks about two characteristics of leadership, fox and lion. So if for real Raila had the truce with Jubilee in 2018, the handshake, for him to be where he is now, I think he played as a fox. He has been playing as a lion and he has been losing. So it is normal that you have to change tact so that you can be able to succeed to meet the interest. If you wanted to be president, even if you wanted to be an MP, you have to be a little cunning to be able to get there. Elite rule is a fact. Abdullahi is not a common person. He wants to be MP of is it Mandera North? Right. Because he has certain qualities. He has gone to school. He has been in the media and all that, or whatever he has been doing all along, which makes him an elite. Elite theory, we have what we call elite theory in political science, says that it's elite that govern, but they must talk to the masses. The masses are disorganized. That's why you can see when a meeting is called in a place, people flock into those meetings. They get 200 shillings or 1,000 shillings, and they sing the praises of that person, that candidate for MP position or for presidency or for whoever it is. Why can they stand up and say no? So the elite have a role to play in society. They have influence, and they peddle that influence to get to power.
Okay, Abdullahi, you are an elite from the boss's house. Okay, let me just put it this way. Tabitha, when Gideon Moi appeared there, of course, other OCA principles were no show. We have got Kalonzo Musyoka, who gave a communique that he was away to South Sudan. Musalia Mudavadi as well did not attend, as well as Moses Wetangula. But then Gideon Moi appeared, as well as Cyrus Jirongo. What is your take on that? Does that really show that OCA is somehow fluid in the decision to make to run away from Raila Odinga, or they're trying to 1 foot in and 1 foot out? Tabitha?
Honestly, Victor, listening to the clip that you just played of Honorable the Senator for Baringo, Gideon Moi, I will say that it was very smart on how actually. First of all, he had to acknowledge that this was Raila's day to announce his presidential bid, or that he'll be running for presidency come 2022. And at the same time, it was very intentional at selling what they stand for as OCA And I think this is the same show, Victor. The last time I was here, I think about 2 weeks ago, you asked us a question about do we think or if OCA principals at all, if they were to run for a presidency come 2022, if any of them will actually have the tyranny of numbers, or even if one of them stood a chance to win. And I categorically say that we actually do not have one of them that will say will take the tyranny of number at the end of the day, or even garner votes that will even be equivalent, close to even the Deputy President William Ruto. So at the point we are in time, I think what we need to see is maybe a coalition between OCA and a presidential candidate like the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, or any other which is more stronger. And the alliance we're having at the moment, whom we see have chances to win the elections come 2022 in terms of the presidency bid, is only the Honorable Raila Odinga and the Deputy President William Ruto. So which side of divide do we see any of them joining? And I kind of also smell some of or a sort of division amongst the OCA principal. If you look at Mudavadi of late, he's been more aligned to the Deputy President. So we do not know come 2022. They say one day in politics is like a lot of time, or even 2 years. So a lot can change within this particular time, between now and August next year. So we do not know if maybe the Gideon, Honorable Gideon Moi will join sides with Raila Odinga. We have seen that they're very close friends, and he even took his time to attend his presidential annunciation ceremony. So does this say something about the OCA principals not working together or not speaking in one voice somehow? Because if in the past they would have come together. I've also had what Abdullah has been putting in place. He said that we need to give time for other Kenyans to rule. Nobody has been denying any Kenyan time to come into power or time to vie for any political seats in this country. Kenya is a democratic state. Kenya is a multi-party state. Everybody or anybody is allowed to go and get any seat they want, provided that you meet the requirements of the Constitution of Kenya. And that cannot be a line or a point of discussion, and we say that now because President Uhuru Kenyatta or Honorable Raila Odinga should not vie for any presidential seat because they have a history of their fathers or even their families being in politics. It's just a fair game. Like, everybody is born a leader, and a leader comes from God. So anybody who is in Kenya and wants to vie for any political state, let not be that we are saying or trying to tell that some leaders should go home for some leaders to come into play. Let us all stand. If you have the qualities and even the requirements as per the Constitution of Kenya, Kenya is a democratic country, and we need to shun away from politics of incitement and things like that.
Okay. That point as well, where Cyrus Jirongo also attended that particular function, and there is something he said about Raila Odinga. If you have that clip.
Viongozi wote ambao mko hapa, tumekuja siku ya leo kwa sababu tuna imani na mzee wetu Raila Amolo Odinga. Yeye ni kiongozi ambaye tunaweza tegemea, na sisi zote kama wananchi wa taifa hili tuweke Mungu mbele kwa kila jambo ambalo tunafanya. Na leo nyinyi nyote mmeshuhudia, kwa sababu uongozi wa taifa kutoka kwa Mungu. Mzee aliweka Mungu mbele kwa mpangilio yake yote ya siku ya leo, na sisi tu ni kumuombea, kwa sababu yeye akipata, sisi tumepata, na sisi tukipata, mzee amepata.
Okay, Abdullahi, mzee akipata na sisi tumepata. Comment on that as your closing remark.
Who mentored Deputy President William Ruto and is still in the cold. So I'm telling you this. Well, when a man stays in the cold for some times and he hasn't been doing well, you will expect some of desperations Jirongo is expressing. Jirongo is a man who mentored Deputy President William Ruto, and today he's telling us Baba akipata anapata because he knows they're in the same, close to the same generation. He'll get a job or a contract or somewhere. That is beside the point. I'm not denying any Kenyan to the right to contest, as Tabitha is alluding to. I'm just saying it is not an entitlement for 3 families to be leading this country for the next 100 years. Now, my take on what the Oka, remember in the studio, you and I told you that in the next 2-3 months, Oka is going to be swallowed. I don't know whether you remember, Victor or no. It's going to be swallowed is the word I used. Now, and I said that people like Kalonzo Musyoka and Gideon Moi will be on Uhuru and Raila's side. Mudavadi will play the hard card until some time, but is he going to bolt out and, get a candidate and contest as a president, as a third force? How strong is that force? I don't think he's going to gather enough votes even to make the 2 R's, Ruto and Raila, to go for the second round. So I see a scenario. I told you, apart from the presidency, in government, there are positions that are very lucrative. There is the Cabinet Secretary for Finance. There is Speaker of the Parliament. There is Speaker of the Senate. There is the Auditor General's office. There are a lot of other Attorney General. Most of these guys are in their 50s and 60s. So they will want a place to have the state machinery around them and enjoy their life. Now, how that is going to bubble out with this is that in the next general election, we can't say for certain a lot of things are going to happen. But what we know is the strongest front runners is Raila Odinga and William Ruto.
All right. Thank you, Abdullahi, for that. Dr. Your final remarks, kindly.
Victor, I would like to respond just a bit to what has been said about Musalia Mudavadi. Musalia Mudavadi seems to be bowling alone. There is a game called bowling, which you must play with other people. You throw the ball, you let someone else throw the ball. He's kind of bowling alone. It's unfortunate that he is in that state of affairs, of indecision. Leadership requires decisiveness. Quickly decide if you are running, do your thing in the party. You are presidential candidate, start campaigning right away for yourself and your party. But you cannot say, okay, Western, we are here, we are not going. Some of his henchmen are saying, oh, you did a good thing not to attend. These fellows have been attending, each one is convention. So what is different about Raila's convention or whatever, Azimio la Umoja convention? So Western has a number of leaders, and I've seen that actually playing out, where we have Wetangula, we have Musalia, we have Oparanya, now Jirongo, Atuoli, and all this. And you see majority have already gone with the deputy, with the former prime minister, and that is also sending shivers through his spine. He's not feeling comfortable. But the earlier he makes a decision, the better. I wanted to say this also, that Jirongo was in Moi's bosom, President Moi's bosom for a long time, a close friend of Ruto. For him to have shifted positions, it's okay, it's his democratic right. But again, what does it show you? I think a final issue is that it's not about 3 families governing this country. We also have 3 regions governing this country. We must give the true picture of the politics of the country. We have had Rift Valley having President Moi for 24 years. We have Central having the 3 presidents. I mean, why are we reducing to elite? Why are you reducing to families? Odinga family has never been president in this country. I could say that without fear of contradiction. So let us see. If we have to spread it out, let us move to different provinces. We can go to Coast, we can go to Northeastern. I wish Abdullahi could say the president now should come from Northeastern, rather than saying it shouldn't be the families. It should be also regional.
Perhaps that is now a challenge to Abdullahi, now that he's running for a political seat. Abdullahi, you might consider running for
presidency,
for the top seat. Why not? You fit the bill. Okay, thank you so much. We have to leave it at that particular point. Gentlemen and lady, we have run short of time. We've been speaking to Dr. Richard Busire, who is a senior lecturer, political science at the University of Nairobi. Thank you so much for joining us, as well as Tabitha Ogutu, joining me via Zoom, and Abdullahi. All of them are political commentators and analysts as well. Thank you so much for your valid company. We are taking a break, and we come back. We have got so much lined up after this. Stick around.
Ili kupata sikiza tuni hii, Isaiah chapter 40 verse 8, bonyeza star 811 star 963 hash.
Wakati mwingine unaweza kujipata umefinywa pande zote na unaona kama shida yako ni kubwa sana, kama hakuna nguvu ambazo zaweza kuitatua, lakini ni vyema kujua kwamba kuna Mungu mwenye nguvu na ambaye hachoki kamwe. Isaia mlango wa 40 mstari wa 8 inasema, "Je, wewe hukujua? Hukusikia? Yeye Mungu wa milele, Bwana muumba miisho ya dunia, hazimii wala hachoki."
Ili kupata sikiza tuni hii, Isaiah chapter 40 verse 8, bonyeza star 811 star 963 hash.
Try to push you over. If you should lose me, you lose my kitchen. Girl, you are a queen to me, yeah. And I'm so proud that I'm your king. You bring up the sides to me.
There. Who the hell are you?
It's none of your business, okay? Who do you think you are?
Don't play tricks on me.
Are you threatening me here?
My requirement is roll straight, roll nicely, and quickly. Boss bot. Roll!
Ian, you should communicate with Mr. Tongmore. Considering your relationship, it won't be difficult.
用一段故事建筑一座城堡，回忆放进去好久不再。
The Amazons.
I want to do things the right way, so that I can offer the man I love the love of my life.
What's going on? Is it something serious? Alejandro! The boss called and he ordered me to move all of your stuff to another bedroom, madam. What? I know the truth. I feel it. Since the first time I saw Alejandro in front of me, I felt it.
What in the world are my daughters doing here?
The Amazons.
Log on to the KBC website at www.kbc.co.ke to get the latest breaking news, entertainment, sports, politics, lifestyle or business trends from Kenya and around the world. Never miss new episodes from your favorite TV shows, reruns and movies. Just stream online or watch live on your YouTube channel at KBC Channel 1 TV shows. For the day's biggest stories, trustworthy news and family entertainment, log on to KBC Channel 1. Watch what you want anytime, anywhere.
welcome back. We continue with Good Morning Kenya, and we want to move on to our health segment as we always do every Tuesday. We are still using the hashtag Good Morning Kenya on Twitter. Our official station handle is at KBC Channel 1. My handle is at Jade Wumboy. Now we move on to this conversation, and this is something that, you know, almost everyone is talking about, and this is all about mental health and wellness. You know, looking at the stats that are out there by the World Health Organization, globally speaking, looking at the age group between 10 and 19 years of age, 1 in every 7 of them experiences a mental disorder, and in total they account for 13% of the global burden when it comes to mental health illnesses. 10 to 19-year-olds, 13% of them compose of the global burden. Looking at depression, anxiety, and behavioral disorders, they are among the leading causes of illnesses still among this age group. And between looking at the age group of 15 to 19, suicide is the 4th leading cause of death globally. Now, bringing this conversation to the Kenyan space, for the last, let's call it 6 months, we have seen a sad situation when it comes to our schools. So many schools have had to close down completely due to student unrest, and the sad cases we have also seen students burning and destroying school properties, all of them saying, you know, citing various reasons as to why they have gone ahead and done that. Just this past week, we did see Iku boys burn down 3 dormitories. But why is that the situation? That is the group we want to focus on today on this conversation on mental illnesses and mental wealth on the other, mental health rather, on the other hand, focusing on teen and young adults and understanding how we are doing and what more we need to do as a people. And with us in studio this morning, we have 2 brilliant ladies who are going to be helping us with this conversation. To my immediate left, we have Catherine Carrera, who is a youth and teen mentor. Good morning and welcome.
Morning, Jane. Thank you.
Thank you for being with us. And also to my extreme right, we have Mercy Chege, who is a psychologist and transformational coach. Good morning, Mercy. Thank you for being with us.
Good morning, Jane. Thank you.
All right. Now, let me start with you, Mercy. You know, just when you talk about mental health and wellness, most of the time we always focus on the adults. But what is your general observation when it comes to mental health and wellness in line with the teenagers and the young adults? And we could start by just giving us the general definition of what mental health is.
All right. Thank you so much. Mental health is the state of mind that you are able to do things without being in a state of indecisiveness. That is just a layman's definition. We usually say when you have your mental health at check, everything else is able to run in the right way. Yes. Because you are able to make decisions, you are able to respond to issues the way they are supposed to be responded to, you're able to know what you're supposed to do next. Generally, the things we do every day. So you've asked a question about the teens and mental health, and we focus on the adults. Yeah, it is true, we have always been focusing on the adults, but on that case of the adults, I'll say people focus on the adults because we think that we are the controllers of the children or the teens. But it is good to know that everyone is an individual. Everyone is an individual as themselves, and mental health starts from right even before you are born. Actually, it is defined. How do we end up with mental illnesses or disorders? It is not. Most of the time, it does not happen when you are an adult. This thing starts way before you are born. The prenatal, the perinatal, and the postnatal times of our life. That is where we are shaped. Yeah, like maybe I could give an example. If today we are talking about teens. So many of us, or so many children, were born by teens by moms who are teens.
Yes.
You can imagine a teen is a child, basically, as in they are not well developed, they don't have the required skills to raise a child. So imagine you're a teen and you raised a child. How did you raise that child? So how you raised that child will contribute to the way they come out in future. Yeah, maybe you were not able to take care of that child, so the child was neglected. And it's not only by a teen mom. We're just mentioning teens because we are talking about teens and youth.
Yes.
even as an adult, today I give birth to a child and I'm not in the very good state of mind, or I'm not in the in a very good area with my life at that point, that child is going to go through so much, like neglect yourself. You're not going to be also taking care of yourself the way you should because you're not well. Like your nutrition, what will this child be feeding from? And that time we're talking about, it is exclusive breastfeeding, and that child is feeding from what you're feeding. Maybe you're under substance abuse, you're transferring that to the child. It interferes with the development of the body and the brain, and that is the software that is being instilled in that child. So what happens, why we focus on the adults, these things show up in future, like so many teens right now,
and yet they started at such a tender age.
They're burning schools and doing stuff. Those things, these things didn't just happen to them overnight. You will find out if you sit down with those teenagers and young adults and take their history. You will be so shocked about how their life has been.
So this unrest we are seeing is sort of a manifestation of a deeper lying problem.
Exactly.
All right. Now let me come to you, Catherine. Still looking at the same question. 13% of the global burden when it comes to mental illnesses is focusing on 10 and 19-year-olds. I mean, a 10-year-old, one would be like, nini na stress a 10-year-old. But what is your general observation?
That's a very good question that you have asked. Nini na stress the 10-year-old. Like, if you can reflect where we are. Last year, when our children were out of school because of COVID, the 10 years and the 19 years, they went out to explore. They went out to experiment, and we exploited them. And then they come back and they want to talk to mommy, and mommy is not there, or daddy is there and is the one that's exploiting the child. What you need to understand is that these children have gone through a lot, and they have bottled it in. And for we that are supposed to be mentoring them or teaching them, we don't know how to cope with it because also we are depressed society. What I want us to understand is the characteristics of a teenager. The teenagers, they are trying to figure out. Unfortunately, this is a time that they can be figured out. And we cannot separate the future with what they are doing now. What everybody needs to know is take responsibility of my actions, because my actions are speaking not only to the outside world, but also speaking to me. And I keep saying, I would want us to be able to understand these children. They love 5 things. They love a lot of drama. But they assume that this drama, I'm going to be dramatic today and separate it with my future. They have to own and know that whatever I do, I normally say, as I mess my today, I mess my future. Then they also love lies. And they tell me these lies, they are coming from because mommy does not understand me. So we have to get to a point where we have to openly communicate with our children. It's not that we don't understand you. We want to protect you because also the environment is very hostile. And then, you know, Jane, we are parenting in a time where there are so many voices and so many things that are targeting these small children. And these voices do not care the shape these children will take. Then they also want to copy each other. Like now you have said Eco Boys banned the other day, Naivasha Girls banned. The question is, why are they banning? Why are the schools banning concurrently? They planned. As a teens mentor, they told me, Madam, we don't want to be in school by 3rd of December. We want to be home. But again, we are telling these children, your way is not the highway. We must sit as stakeholders and listen to each other. Yes, we have seen the fires. What are the fires telling us? Yesterday, I was asking myself a question. Must all schools ban for the stakeholders to know? Even the politicians, Jane, they are telling us, the crowd is speaking. We are ignoring that these children are speaking, and unfortunately, the children are speaking in a very bad way because they're speaking in a criminal way. They are criminals now. They have banned schools. Then they also want to fashion. They want to fashion very well. They want to be fashionable, and then they love fun. Like now they are protesting, we want to come home. They are coming home to want to have fun. And we want to tell them that fun is not in crime. and there is no thrill in immorality. So what we need to do is help these children understand themselves, understand that we grown-ups, we were once a child. Talking about mental wellness or mental illness on the negative side, what we do today is going to affect our future. Between 10 and 19 years old, the 10 one is not even a teen, they are preteens. But again, Jane, from where we sit, we know the 10-year-old in Kenya gives birth, and we only know a girl has given birth. We don't know of the boy, and we imagine that the girl has given birth. Where is the boy? So the boy also must be suffering a lot of trauma because they made somebody pregnant and nobody knows. You can imagine it's a secret that you're holding with yourself and it is tormenting you. And Jane, the scars that we don't see take longer to heal. So what you need to do is encourage the children to speak out. And for we that are listening, let us not listen to condemn. Let us listen to help them. Jane, when we are looking at children, I'm a farmer. There is arrowroot and potatoes. You know how you uproot one, but the other one you have to go drill down. We must drill down to get to the problem of what is happening. And I'm assuming as good Kenyans, are we going to ignore the school fires? Come January, we expect the children to behave as normal, and because Jane, what happens when you sweep your house and you bury the dirt underneath the carpet? What happens is a mountain will come. You're going to fall on that carpet. So we must now sit and ask the children, what are we saying? Parent, what is happening? And you know, Jane, the 10 months out of COVID, out of school because of COVID. These children going to know mommy is married to daddy, but mommy has somebody else they call babe. So they have a lot of things, and those things, they have to come out. So we must make sure that we encourage them to talk. I normally call it a hot talk, where we are very honest, where we are very open and very truthful with them. We drill down so that we can salvage them.
All right. Now, let me come to you, Mercy. Do you think we misunderstand our children?
Well,
as parents, as guardians?
Well, Catherine has said so many things. And she's mentioned about that time children were home and they were seeing so much. And we usually think they don't understand. On Saturday, I happened to be in a training, and our facilitator shared a very good insight about how, as a leader, parents are leaders. How do children learn? And he talked about a man who had so many monkeys, and he had a cook. So he had to go for some time. This cook was limping. So when he went for like 3 months, when he came back, all the monkeys were limping. And he asked the cook, what is happening? What did you do to my monkeys? And the cook said, I didn't do anything, boss. Monkey say, monkey do. So this is it. Children have been observing what we are doing. Children have been watching these things. We have left them to the social media, to the television. They are learning. And at that time, Catherine has mentioned something, that mommy has someone at the side. Daddy has this. That time, we didn't know our children, they didn't know us. They got to know so much. And they also were able to interact so much with the other children, so they got to know so many things. And she has also mentioned about this is the time they are knowing so many things and learning. So imagine you have gotten a lot of information from all over and you want to try it at the same time. Remember, they usually say the teenage is it's a crisis age. It is not. I wouldn't call it crisis. It is a season of growth that is so different from any other time. This is when they're experiencing body changes. They're experiencing, even some of them have never been away from home.
It's crucial more than
exactly.
Critical.
Now they are in the boarding schools. They've never been away from home. That is their first freedom. Yeah. So maybe I could say a few things so that we don't look like we're misunderstanding our teens. First of all, like now children are coming home.
And actually, I'm told we have to bring the conversation to a close. So maybe you could give us the recommendations when it comes to looking at this crucial, we wouldn't call it critical or a crisis stage. Crucial time period in their development. What are your recommendations?
Well, thank you so much. I look at it like this. Right now they are coming home and we have seen what has been happening. What is the right thing to do? this is for me. I would urge parents. This is not the time when they come home. The first thing you do is ask for their I even start asking, where have you been burning schools? Where are even your results or something? I would tell them, first, show love. Let know how they have been, be with them. Let them know they're important than anything else that has been happening.
Okay.
Yeah, number two, create now time to be with them. And sometimes they look like they're rebelling. If you say like they're going away, it is you to bring them closer, but don't force it. Maybe what you can do is cook a meal with them, get into their time. Sometimes I see like they love watching movies. Watch a movie with them so that they see you are interested with what we are doing. It's not always the other way. Yeah. The other thing is take care of yourself. You know yourself. How are you doing things?
Yes.
Because they're watching. And I would like to say, like the monkey see, monkey do. The children and teens, they learn well by seeing what you're doing. They like role model. So most of the time, they are just a reflection of us.
All right. Catherine, also
Yes,
your
Jane.
recommendations, looking at the fact that you interact with so many of this population in this particular age group.
I want to help us understand children. The word of God says that children naturally do silly, careless things, but a good spanking. So what
They don't know better.
Yeah, it's natural.
Yeah.
Silly, careless combination, you can imagine. Silly, careless things naturally. So what we want to do as parents is have 4 C's, where we must connect with our children. Jane, when I've connected with you, you're able to read my moods. Even when I wake up and I slam the door, that will not do you because you already know we are connected. When we have connected, Jane, we'll be able to correct these children. And we cannot separate parenting from discipline. We have to discipline and disciple. Thank you. I see your face agreeing. We have to discipline and disciple. Then as we have connected, we have corrected, now we can cooperate together. Because these children have a future and they have an appointment with their destiny so that they can know they are not doing it for mommy, they are not doing it for the CS of education, it's their life, and they are also taking care of their mental wellness. Then we can now be able to communicate, because communication is the oxygen of every language, of every relationship, including why they want to come home. And Jane, I know they are coming home for Christmas. I want to tell them that they should not allow a fool to kiss them or even a kiss to confuse them, because they have an appointment with their destiny. Our children think that without sex they will die. Allow me to tell them, nobody will ever die for not having sex. There's a time for everything. So parent, take care of those 4 C's. Let me repeat them again. Connect, so that you can correct, so that you can cooperate, so that you can communicate, because there's a funny combination. Thank you.
I don't think I can add any more to that. And just speaking of kids coming home, we're just getting information that there's some students, we will not mention the school at this particular point, that have, in Baringo County, they have walked out of school in protest of the school closing dates. As per the Ministry of Health calendar, the official closing date was on the 23rd of December, but as of the 17th, we're going to be seeing so many schools closing. So we will be waiting to get the official communication in regards to this, which will be coming up in our subsequent broadcastings. But for now, I want to bring this conversation to a close. But just to remind you, as you have heard from our guests, mental health cuts across board. It doesn't matter your age. Looking at the stats that we're being given, children as young as 10-year-old are experiencing depression, behavioral disorders, emotional disorders, and consequently boiling down to even eating disorders at the age of 10. As a parent, you may be wondering, ni nini mbaya na huyu mtoto? Na pia mtoto anashindwa, ni nini mbaya na mamangu au babangu? So bring into play the 4 C's that you've been given here this morning to help get you started on this conversation. And again, we cannot exhaust this conversation in this one sitting. We'll be having subsequent discussions to just build up on this particular conversation, focusing on mental health, specifically on our teenagers and young adults. But for now, we want to bring this conversation to a close. We have been speaking with Mercy Chege, who is a psychologist and a transformational coach, as well as Catherine Karira, who is a youth and teen mentor. Thank you very much, ladies, for being with us today. We look forward to having you again.
Thank you.
All right. I'm Jane Wamboy. Do enjoy the rest of your viewing. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
things the right way so that I can offer the man I love the love of my life.
What's going on? Is it something serious? Alejandro! The boss called and he ordered me to move all of your stuff to another bedroom, madam.
What? I know the truth. I feel it. Since the first time I saw Alejandro in front of me, I felt it. What in the world are my daughters doing here?
The Amazons.
Hii ni mitikasi leo, makala kutoka BBC. Yaliyomo: majungo bahari hawavutii kabisa machoni mwa wengi, lakini yanaingizia Zanzibar mamilioni ya fedha. Baadaye tutakueleza jinsi teknolojia inavyotumiwa kuimarisha usalama wa wanawake katika usafiri wa umma mjini Kinshasa. Kisha tunamulika hali halisi ya sekta ya mavazi nchini Rwanda baada ya nchi hiyo kupiga marufuku uagizaji wa mitumba. Tunakujia moja kwa moja kutoka Nairobi, Kenya. Usibanduke. Karibu katika habari za biashara zinazo kuhusu uchambuzi wa kina na mahojiano. Jina langu ni Hamida Abubakar. Kisiwa cha Zanzibar nchini Tanzania ni miongoni mwa sehemu maarufu duniani kwa utalii, lakini baada ya janga la corona kuvamia dunia, sekta ya utalii imeathirika na wakazi wamekuwa wakitafuta njia mbadala za kujipatia kipato. Baadhi yao wamegeukia kilimo cha majongoo bahari ili kujikwamua kiuchumi. David Inkia ana maelezo zaidi.
Jongoo wa baharini unaweza kumfananisha na tunda la tango, licha ya kutofautiana kidogo sana. Ni ufugaji ulioanzishwa Zanzibar mwongo mmoja uliopita. Semeni Mohamed Salum yupo katika moja ya mashamba yake akiangalia maendeleo ya majongoo bahari anaowafuga. Yeye ni sehemu ya kikundi ambacho kimekuwa kikijifunza kuhusu aina hii ya ufugaji tangu mwaka 2011. Sasa wana maeneo 12 ya kufugia na kila moja lina majongoo bahari 2000.
Tangu kwanza kufuga majongoo, maisha yangu yamebadilika sana, kwa sababu kipato ambacho nilikuwa nikikipata ni kidogo. Sekta majongoo inalipa sana. Tuliwahi kuvuna kwenye shamba moja, tulikubaliana mimi na mtu ambaye amewekeza, niliweza kupata mgao wangu wa milioni 5 katika shamba moja.
Tuambie ni changamoto gani kubwa ambayo unakumbana nayo katika kufanya shughuli hii ya ufugaji wa majongoo bahari?
Ufugaji wa jongoo na mazao mengine ya baharini kuna tofauti kubwa. Jongoo uzuri wake humlishi ukimfuga, tofauti na samaki au kaa na vitu vingine. Lakini utofauti kubwa, jongoo unatakiwa uwe na subra, kwa sababu ili upate jongoo mzuri basi asipungue mwaka mmoja. Tofauti samaki miezi 6, kaa miezi 3.
Jongoo anafugika vizuri, anakuwa vizuri, lakini wizi ndio tatizo. Wizi na vifaa bora vya ufugaji, kwa sababu tunatumia nyavu hizi za kinyavu, tunatumia hizi ni hazipenyeshi maji vizuri, nyavu ambazo za sio oriji yake kwa kufugia jongoo. Kwa hiyo kidogo zinatupa tabu, lakini tunatumia.
Licha ya kwamba majongoo bahari hupatikana katika sehemu mbalimbali za bahari hapa Zanzibar, lakini idadi yake imekuwa ikipungua kila kukicha kutokana na uhitaji mkubwa wa watu, lakini pia mabadiliko ya tabia nchi. Majongoo bahari hawa wana soko kubwa katika nchi zilizopo bara la Asia kama vile China. Ni chakula muhimu kwa baadhi ya watu, huku wengine wakitumia kama dawa. Uzalishaji wa majongoo baharini Zanzibar umekuwa ukipungua katika miaka michache iliyopita. Kwa mujibu wa Wizara ya Uchumi na Uvuvi Zanzibar, mwaka 2019 kisiwa hicho kilizalisha tani 30.58, lakini idadi hiyo ilipungua kufikia tani 5.53 mwaka 2020. Taasisi kadhaa ikiwemo inayohusiana na viumbe wa baharini iliyopo chini ya serikali imekuwa ikifanya jitihada za makusudi kuinua sekta hii.
Kwa hapa sisi kwenye kituo chetu tunakuwa wanakuzwa kwa muda wa mwezi mmoja.
Wakishakuzwa kwa muda wa mwezi mmoja inabidi waende nasar. Kwa hivyo nasar inabidi iwe kule kule kwenye bahari. Kwa hiyo tunapeleka kwenye uzio maalumu, wanakaa pia kwa mwezi mmoja kwenye nasar, baadaye wanapelekwa kwenye mashamba ya wakulima ambapo hapo wataka kwa muda wa miezi 6 mpaka kuvunwa.
Kwa hivyo basi ni kwa namna gani sekta hii inaweza kustawi na kulingana na sekta nyingine za kiuchumi hapa Zanzibar kama utalii, uvuvi na nyinginezo? Nipo hapa kukutana na waziri wa uchumi wa bluu kufahamu hili na mengine mengi zaidi.
Sisi kama serikali tumetengeneza intervention package kwa wakulima wote, namna gani ya kuwapa elimu zaidi, namna gani ya kuwasaidia vifaa na namna gani ya kuwatafutia masoko, na tunawashajihisha sasa investors kutoka nje waje hapa watengeneze viwanda vya kusarifu, ikiwa ni majongoo, ikiwa ni kaa, ikiwa ni mwani hapa Zanzibar, ili wananchi wafaidike vizuri zaidi.
Haya, tuendelee. Katika miji mingi duniani wanawake huwa hatarini zaidi kuhusu usalama wao katika usafiri wa umma. Mjini Kinshasa katika Jamhuri ya Kidemokrasia ya Kongo watu hupenda sana kutumia teksi, lakini hii ni njia moja iliyo ya hatari sana. Victoria Rubadiri anatuelezea jinsi wanawake wawili walivyotumia njia ya teknolojia kutatua tatizo hilo.
Kinshasa ni moja ya majiji makubwa barani Afrika. Liko katika ukingo wa mto Kongo. Inakisiwa kwamba lina watu milioni 15. Kila mtu yumo mbioni, lakini mfumo wa usafiri hauwezi kumudu. Ikiwa huna gari yako mwenyewe, njia pekee ya usafiri ni kutumia teksi hizi. Lakini wakati wa usiku kuna hatari ya kutekwa nyara. Hili hutokea hapa mara 5 kwa wiki.
Njia hii ndio mara nyingi hufanya harakati zao.
Sara alichukuliwa wakati akienda nyumbani akitoka kazini.
Mtu alikuja kutoka nyuma ya gari na kunikamata na kusema, tulia ama utakufa.
Lakini sio kila utakaji nyara huishia baada ya kulipwa fidia.
Walichukua mfuko kama hivi na kuondoka.
Mara nyingine abiria huporwa kila kitu na kuachwa katika maeneo hatari ya mji. Baada ya kuamua wasimuue, watekaji nyara walimuacha Sara hapa. Hii ni mara ya kwanza Sara kurejea hapa wakati wa usiku.
Sipendi kabisa sehemu hii. Hunikumbusha yale yalitokea usiku ule. Siwezi kabisa kusahau. Kila ninapokuwa ndani ya teksi au basi na nikiona dereva anapinda kuingia sehemu hii, ghafla hunijia yale yaliyotokea usiku ule.
Sara alitekwa mwaka moja uliopita, wakati ule ambao wajasiriamali wawili walianzisha programu tuimishi kwa jina Hoja. Ina maelezo ya madereva na magari yao.
Tuliposikia watu wanatekwa nyara, hata mmoja ya binamu yangu alitekwa nyara kwenye teksi. Nikasema, sawa, nina kazi sasa. Tutapataje ufumbuzi na kuleta usafiri wenye usalama unaoaminika na watu wataweza kuumudu?
Lakini kwa vile sio kila mtu ana simu za mkononi, kundi hili lazima litafute njia mbadala.
Tulianza na ufumbuzi wa kutumia ujumbe mfupi, halafu tukabuni programu tumishi kwa ajili ya watu. Tukaingiza programu hiyo kwa mfumo wa Android ili watumiaji waweze kupata taarifa.
Hivi ndivyo inavyofanya kazi. Nafungua programu hiyo kwenye simu yangu, inasoma picha ya dereva na gari litafika tayari, ni hivyo tu. Licha ya juhudi za polisi, matukio ya utekaji nyara ni tatizo sugu katika mji huu. Ni maafisa wa usafiri wametuambia hivi sasa.
Na hii ni Mitikasi leo kutoka BBC. Tutakayoangazia hivi punde, tunamulika hali halisi ya sekta ya mavazi nchini Rwanda. Karibu tena. Rwanda ilipiga marufuku uagizaji wa mitumba mwaka 2018. Marufuku hiyo ililenga kuimarisha sekta ya mavazi nchini humo. Miaka mitatu baadaye, wabunifu wa mavazi nchini humo wanasema marufuku hiyo imesaidia kuimarisha soko lao nchini, wakiongezea kwamba lengo lao sasa ni kuhakikisha mavazi yao yenye nembo ya Made in Rwanda yamefikia soko la kimataifa.
Ndani ya chumba hiki cha wastani jijini Kigali, Rwanda, ndipo Matthew Rugamba anafanikisha ndoto yake ya kuwa mbunifu wa mavazi anayetambulika kimataifa. Anashona mavazi ya mitindo ya Kiafrika, lakini zaidi taifa lake la Rwanda, ambapo anahakikisha kuwa ubunifu wake unatambulika wazi kuwa una asili ya Rwanda.
Jambo la kufurahisha katika mitindo ni kuwa unaweza kuweka mambo kadhaa pamoja. Kuna suala la wabunifu kujituma, lakini pia kuna serikali ambayo inawajibika. Kila mtu sasa anazungumzia masuala ya Made in Rwanda na pia kuhusu fursa ya kibiashara inayojitokeza.
Kigali huenda ikawa haijafikia viwango vya jiji la Lagos, Nigeria, ambao kwa sasa unatambulika kuwa ndio makao makuu ya sanaa ya mitindo ya mavazi ya Afrika. Lakini baadhi wanahoji kuwa hatua zinazochukuliwa nchini humo zitachangia kuimarisha sekta hiyo. Mwaka 2016, serikali ya Rwanda ilipandisha kodi ya mitumba inayoingizwa nchini kutoka mataifa ya magharibi, na miaka miwili baadaye nguo hizo zikapigwa marufuku. Wabunifu mavazi kama Jocelyn Omutoniwase, mwanzilishi wa Rwanda Clothing, wanaruhusiwa kununua vitambaa bila kulipa kodi, na sheria hizi ndizo wanasema zimesaidia kuimarisha sekta ya mavazi Rwanda.
Baada ya kupewa fursa na serikali kuwekwa mstari wa mbele kuonyesha uwezo wetu, tulianza sasa kuipa tathmini utamaduni wetu muundo tofauti, na pia kuangalia vitu mbalimbali ambavyo vinatutofautisha na mataifa mengine ya Afrika Mashariki.
Tumeona namna watu wanavyoanza polepole kubadili mawazo na kuanza kujivunia kuvalia mavazi ya humo chini. Nadhani tumeona mafanikio makubwa pale kwa upande mmoja kodi ya juu ilitangazwa na upande mwingine ikaondolewa, na ndipo tumefikia hapa watu kujivunia kuvalia mavazi ya nyumbani.
Mishono yao inapendwa sana nchini, kuanzia kwa viongozi wa nchi. Lakini vile katika miaka ya hivi karibuni, wabunifu kama Rugamba wamefanikiwa kuwa na mavazi yao yakivaliwa na baadhi ya watu mashuhuri hata nje ya nchi. Na huu wanasema ndio mwanzo tu. Lengo ni kubadilisha mawazo ya dunia kuhusu Rwanda kama taifa linalohusishwa tu na mauaji ya kimbari, na kufanya kutambulika kama taifa la mitindo na mavazi yanayokubalika. Esther Kahumbi, BBC.
Na sasa hiki hapa ni kitu cha kutafakari. Akili ndogo za binadamu ambazo zinakuzwa katika maabara. Wanasayansi wa vyuo vikuu nchini Uingereza wanazitumia akili hizi za kuundwa ili kufanya utafiti wa magonjwa mawili ya akili. Humphrey Mgonja anaarifu.
Katika maabara hii ya Cambridge, wanasayansi wanakuza kitu cha kusaidia kupata matibabu kwa magonjwa ya akili yenye athari mbaya. Moja kwa jina la motor neuron, ambao unaathiri akili na neva na kusababisha udhaifu ambao unazidi kuwa mbaya zaidi kadri muda unavyokwenda. Ugonjwa wa pili ni frontotemporal dementia, ambao unatokea uharibifu na kupunguza kwa sehemu ya mbele ya akili na kuathiri hulka na mienendo ya mtu. Hizi ni sehemu ndogo za akili za binadamu, hazina uhai. Zimekuzwa kutoka kwa sehemu za watu wenye magonjwa hayo. Na hii inawaruhusu wanasayansi kugundua namna ugonjwa unaanza na kabla ya dalili kujitokeza. Zimekuwa zikikuzwa kwa takribani mwaka mmoja sasa.
Kuziacha zikue kwa muda huo wote ni kwa sababu inaruhusu seli kukomaa kwa muda mrefu, na unaweza kuona wakati ugonjwa unapoanza kujitokeza.
Viungo vidogo pia vinaweza kutumika kufanya majaribio ya dawa tofauti, kupunguza haja ya majaribio kwa wanyama au binadamu. Na kwa sababu wanatumia seli binafsi, huenda siku moja zikawapa ujuzi wanasayansi kutambua dawa gani bora kwa mtu binafsi.
Mwisho wa mitikasi leo kutoka BBC. Naitwa Hamida Abubakar. Kwaheri.
there! Who the hell are you?
It's none of your business, okay? Who do you think you are?
Don't play tricks on me.
Are you threatening me here?
My requirement is roll straight, roll nicely, and quickly.
Boss,
roll!
Ian, you should communicate with Mr. Tongmore. Considering your relationship, it won't be difficult.
用一段故事建筑一座城堡，回放进去，好久不再。